What's the Vegas line?
What does that mean?
They're like the money, like the line, like an over/under maybe, or like a betting line. Like they'll give you 2-1 odds, I guess. I can see Pekka, Three Musketeers. But enough of that, because we are live with the Season 2 Super Magical Cup Championships.
Yeah, it's been such a long journey here. Absolutely. It feels like so. The first season was about 10 weeks of matches. But the thing is, we had a few weeks of breaks in Season 1. In Season 2, we've pretty much gone straight through. 12 consecutive weeks of invitational tournaments, including the 800-player qualifier with Royale Tourney Week. If you remember when tournaments very, very first came out, because that was the first week of Super Magical Cup Season 2. It's been that long. 3 months, weekly tournaments, qualifiers being run at least 6 times a week. And we've, I think, got pretty much the best players in the community. I can't think of any big name that we're particularly, we're missing. Like, everyone is represented. Everyone's had their shot. I agree. I think that Super Magical Cup, of course, there will always be the unknown, and Super Magical Cup raises many of them.
Oh, right? Of course.
Many a new name. In fact, I would just estimating here, half of the participants in the championship are new names that have risen up in the Super Magical Cup.
Actually, if you take a look, I think only Clyde and Woody are the holdovers. The number 1 seed and the number 16 seed from Season 1 are actually here in Season 2. I think there might be 14 new names and faces.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting.
I wonder if we could pull that up. I wonder if we have. We do have the Season 1 leaderboard still around.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. Actually, I wonder if we can pull this one up. Is it over here?
Yeah.
Would it be? So. I'm trying to think if we could actually show it.
Sorry.
Oh, we can. Yeah, it's a little weird. But let's take a look. So Woody, this is Season 1. The Season 1 leaderboard had Woody, Clark Kent, Manu Fan, Justin for the win, Fly Society, Scrazzer, Interlol, Juan, Rye Guy, Raintown, Naders, Maps, Pompeo, XYX, Jeff, Malcade, Ido, and then Clyde was actually the 17th.
You're right.
You're right. There's only 2 holdovers to this week. This season. 14 new faces. Not only a returning dominant performer in Woody, but the returning Season 1 champion Clyde looking to defend his belt.
Yeah, I never really noticed how much, but it's crazy. Season 2 has been a completely different story, and I think in terms of the player base as well, Season 2 was really when playing Clash Royale in a very competitive manner became much more popular with the introduction of tournament features and also just much more of a focus on, I think the community began to really embrace the tournament level cap and really tried harder to play more tournament cap games. And I think the player base just grew and developed a lot. We saw the introduction of a lot of archetypes, a lot of different decks, a lot of innovation. And a lot of that innovation was driven by the goal to win.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, not only were new names discovered with the advent of the tournament system, players like C McHugh, who's competing today, was completely unknown until Royale Tourney Week when he won several of those big tournaments. But from having 12 weeks of invitationals, we recorded all of the top 8 decks every week. This is every deck that made money during the Super Magical Cup Season 2 Invitationals. And as you can see, we've got a pretty good breakdown between Beatdown, Siege, and Control. Which of these archetypes do you think is going to perform really well today?
Oh, man. Boy. I would say that Siege, probably. In my eyes, I think Siege has been the most successful in the Super Magical Cup if you include Minor Inferno.
And that's what we did.
Poison.
I think we were discussing. Okay, so if you're looking at this chart, we've divided up all the archetypes into Beatdown, Siege, and Control. The yellow slice is rogue decks that kind of avoided traditional classification. And early in the season, we actually kind of described those minor decks as control decks because if you remember early in Season 1, there was a lot of those minor cycle decks. They use cards like Minion Horde and Mini P.E.K.K.A. to try to get to your tower with the miner being a distraction. But over the course of Season 2, that deck really evolved to be much more of a defensive siege deck. I mean, Bowler, Inferno, Ice Wizard were the primary defensive tools, and then it would use Miner and Poison as really the only way to deal damage and actually take down towers.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a very, very fine line because before there used to be the minor decks would try to use the bowler and try to use the guards and try to use them to defend and then leverage them into a push. But as we see the game play out, most of the time the bowlers and the guards don't actually make it across the bridge, or if they do, they don't make it very far, and they don't usually contribute in damage on the tower. The biggest way they contribute is an elixir sink, in which the minor Inferno player will punish by playing the minor poison or something of that sort to actually put damage onto the tower. But you'll very rarely see the bowler actually hit the tower in that deck.
Yeah, you're right. It's mostly something that forces the opponent to spend some elixir when it crosses the river. You're right. I think that's a great observation. So let's take a look at the bracket. Now, if this is your first time watching a Super Magical Cup Season Championship, if you missed Season 1 Championships, welcome to the Season 2 Championships. We're glad to have you. This is going to be the best event of the season by far. Here's how it works. All 16 players have been grouped into pods of 4 based on seed. These are completely balanced groups. There's no favoritism being shown towards anyone. Each player is going to play a match against every other player in the group. Round robin, 3 rounds each for all players. So for example, if we were looking at Builder's Workshop, there's going to be Patriots versus Marcus, Patriots versus Clyde, Patriots versus level 99, Marcus versus Clyde, Marcus versus level 99, and Clyde versus level 99. Yes. All of them will play each other. The top 2 people from each group will advance into the top 8. If you make it out of groups, you will not play anyone from your group unless you two happen to meet in the finals. So you're going to see a great mix-up of pretty much every top player in the game bashing heads into each other. I've heard that some of these players are bringing some very interesting new decks. We're going to spend some time... Ooh. I know, right? Ooh. We're going to make sure that if you tune in over the next hour and a half here, you're going to get to see every single one of these players at least once. We're going to watch 8 games from the group stages, making sure to grab everyone at least once. And then, of course, as usual, we'll watch through the entire top 8, top 4, and championships.
Something interesting to think about is, man, and I wish I had gotten the statistics on this before, but... in the previous championship, in the Season 1 championship, I think there was a lot of difficulty for the players building their decks. Do they counter the people in their groups? Do they try to build a deck to fight off a popular player's archetype, right? Or do they try to come up with an innovative deck that will kind of surprise people and push them farther ahead? Decks that come to mind was the Furnace, right? Using Furnace decks in the championship. Or, you know, Clyde's big body poison decks was not really a thing at that time. He really started that off. So.
You're right. The Season 1 championship was almost the birthplace of giant poison, because it was shortly after that the Shanghai tournament came around, and all those players had also adopted Clyde's giant poison archetype and really won it. If you're... I swear, we say it every week. The Super Magical Cup is the leader of the new meta in the Western Hemisphere. I'm glad you guys are tuning in. I've heard there's some cool decks. I'm not going to spoil anyone because I'm sure they told me in secret, but I know that some players are bringing some very innovative new decks. And of course, we might even see some Ice Golem today.
Oh, yeah, Ice Golem.
Ice Golem just came out.
Man, did you see that GIF on Reddit where the Ice Golem was just in front of the princess? They arrowed it, and the princess was just standing...
So there is a glitch with Ice Golem. We'll see how many people can take advantage of it, where when Ice Golem dies, it protects the nearest friendly unit that was played after Ice Golem. So you can't use Ice Golem as a shield ability, but if you play Ice Golem and then play something behind it, it will protect it, but only from spells. So it's kind of it's sort of a weird scenario. The best use I've seen of it is that you can play Sparky after the Ice Golem, and that blocks the rocket. So you got to really aim your rocket to not hit the Ice Golem, I guess. All right, so before we get in, we're going to jump into games here in just a second, but let's talk about the groups really fast and some of the storylines. The first group, Builder's Workshop, has an intense rivalry going on there. Patriots 34, the #1 seed, and a little bit of a hothead on Twitter, has called out Silent Gaming quite a few times. There's no love lost between Patriots 34 and the members of Silent, and 2 are in his group, Marcus 35 and level 99, members of Silent. They are probably gunning to take Patriots out of that group. Clyde, of course, the defending Season 1 champion, might somehow sneak by underrated, given how much there's a heated rivalry between the remaining players in the group. In Spell Valley, we have not 1, not 2, but 3 members of Reddit Alpha, where only 2 members can advance. Marcel P, Bakalo, and Zadian are all guildmates, all probably practice together. Ideally, they'd like to see 2 of them advance, but they have the dark horse of the tournament, C McHugh, one of the best players in the game, sitting there in the 12 seed. And if C McHugh advances, there's going to be 2 very unhappy Reddit Alpha members behind it. In Bone Pit, we have 4 players, all of whom have proven their mettle in a relatively limited number of events. Woody played early in the season, did really well, earned a huge lead, kind of, quit playing the second half of the season knowing that he was locked up for the championship. ESL Yo, a dominant performer in the qualifiers, won more qualifiers than anyone else, struggled to do really well at the invitationals, but many top players say that he is just beyond, like, he's a really strong player and could break out at any moment. Proco, known as a Lava Hound expert. It's interesting because both Woody and Proco are very known players for what they play, and we'll see if that hurts them or helps them. Trainer Chris is another C McHugh type figure who is very strong player. A lot of the players consider him very, very good. Low seed.
Tournament.
Yes, very prolific tournament player. Has won dozens and thousands and thousands of cards from the in-game tournaments. Pekka's Playhouse is very interesting to me because that is the always the bridesmaid, never the bride group. Every single one of those people have made multiple top fours, and in some cases, players like Vizard and Naruto have like 5. Like, yeah, like
He's ranked number 3 without having ever won a single event.
I believe he had 5 top 8 finishes, so pretty crazy. So we're starting to get the first of the matches finished up here, and I'm excited to see who can advance. Let's grab this one, I guess. Let's do it here. And let's make sure that we got the match preview up.
There we go.
All right, Marcus 35 and Clyde.
Ooh, what a deck. All right, so immediately we're seeing a minor poison deck. There's a few interesting things about this. There's no bowler. Instead, there's a log. Now, pushback plus Inferno Tower is really, really great. It's more noticeable with the log rather than the bowler because the log can actually push back the big bodies, which is really gives the Inferno Tower that extra amount of time to charge up to the lethal amounts of damage against, say, like a giant, right? Even with Zap, sometimes the Inferno Tower, just with the addition of log, will be able to destroy the giant before it even gets any swings on the tower itself.
Absolutely. And over with Marcus 35, he's playing, and Marcus 35 is known as very much a meta deck player. He's not so much of an innovator, which is not a bad thing at all. He is an expert at playing the sort of known lists out there. He brought Minor Inferno for this game. His goal is going to be to hide behind his Elixir Collectors, his Inferno Towers, Log, Mega Minion, etc., and really grind down the opponent with a mixture of Minor, Poison, and he's even got, Log and Guards to help get in there for some chip damage where he can.
I love these cards that you did for them.
Oh, yeah, how great is this? All right, let's go. You can thank Will, actually. Will, one of our other Super Magical Cup team members, has been very good at helping us out with graphic design.
Where'd you go?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, the games are coming in super quick, but yeah, super interesting statistics to look at, by the way. So, Season 1 championship winner for Clyde and Season 2 Super Magical Cup number 5 winner for Marcus 35.
And Clyde also won the second Super Magical Cup of Season 2, so while he was the SMC Season 1 champion, it also did take an event home this season.
All right. Okay, so Clyde is going to start Inferno Dragon Knight, 3 Musketeers. So this is kind of an interesting deck to me. The Minor actually tags onto the Elixir Collector and Guards, as we see. So we're already beginning to see the thing that we talked about, Ramham, about kind of Minor Inferno, and really none of these cards are expected to make it across to the other side.
What a value knight there on the left. But you're right. Really, Marcus 35 should be taking as little damage as humanly possible should be his goal. This is a deck that, if it falls behind, has a very hard time recovering.
Yes.
It's not a deck that's going to win 2-1 against pretty much anyone, so it's going to try to lock down a 1-0. Poison there on the 2 Musketeers does a good job at taking those 2 Musketeers, out of the game, but he's left his right side a little more vulnerable.
So he's going to play Mega Minion plus Guards to stop the Musketeer from dealing damage to the Mega Minion itself, and that's a relatively good defense against 3 Musketeers. The question is, the momentum does not look to be on Marcus 35's side, and he still has no Collector on the field, and it's hard to get your momentum going.
Well, what's interesting is that Clyde does have a Minor, so wow, he's gonna okay. So he pulled some of those Fire Spirits back. I was wondering about that because you really don't want the Fire Spirits to hit. That's like the exact sort of thing that you want to block, maybe with Log or even an Inferno Tower or something. Fire Spirits are actually a very underrated card against Minor Inferno decks, specifically because it's only 2 Elixir. It threatens damage on their tower. They have to do something to block it, and they usually don't have something like a Giant, which would be really effective at absorbing those Fire Spirits.
Mind Games coming out from Clyde puts the Minor in the really risky spot. Mega Minion has to fly a little bit to take it down, and enough swings on the Collector to make it essentially useless.
Yeah, well, he's going to get a few pumps out of it, but you're right. I think the big advantage there for Marcus is that he's forcing Clyde to split his damage up a little bit. Clyde obviously wants to take 1 tower in the next 45 seconds to try to win this game, but if he's splitting, he's already taken 1 tower worth of damage, but it's spread across 2 towers. And just like that, Marcus 35 has taken the lead.
3 Musketeers coming down, and there's no Poison or Log, and this could really...
Oh no, and those Fire Spirits! Oh wow!
No, the double Musketeers, and the Log comes in and mitigates a lot of that damage, plus the Ice Spirit.
Expert defense by Marcus.
Yeah, what a tough situation. How many times without poison, without log, without any kind of spells can you survive a Three Musketeer onslaught like that?
Absolutely. Well, here we go. I expect a miner to come from Marcus 35 to help support these low health cards.
All right, poison on top, and it looks like the miner gets tagged onto the knight rather than the tower. The log pushes it back. Oh, but
and with poison and log out of the hand, there's Three Musketeers can come down pretty much unscathed.
Now the miner is a pop-up tank for the Three Musketeers, but let's see if Marcus 35 can pull off another miracle defense here. But it just looks like to be a big ball of doom right now. Miner taking up for the
one, two, oh! Clyde takes. That was so close. We were talking earlier in the match about how, Marcus 35 looked like he was behind, but very quickly took the lead again in the last minute of double overtime. And that really came down to just who could get their final push off just in time. And Clyde was able to sneak it out right there. Hold on, let me get my screen blocker up. But yeah.
Yeah. Just right at the very last moment. And we were analyzing the situation, talking about it, and Clyde did a really, really great defense. I mean, he took a little bit of damage, but you have to imagine, if you're going to risk throwing away your poison, throwing away your log, and take a little bit of damage and do it again, that might have been just a little bit of health that Clyde needed to survive, or rather, Marcus 35 needed to survive that last push that Clyde pushed all in for. Right. Three Musketeers on one side. If you get poison logged on that Three Musketeer drop, it's pretty done in overtime. 288 health left on Clyde's tower.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. That is like, there were so many little bits of chip damage that if he could have blocked them early, especially that knight. Think about that knight that occurred in the first 45 seconds of the game that chopped so much damage off that tower. If he could have stopped that, distracted it, whatever, I think you're right. That could have been the difference in the game that early on.
Yeah.
Let's move to our next match, Bakalo versus C McHugh.
Ooh, very interesting. All right, so I'm going to take a look at C McHugh's deck for a little bit here. Something interesting to know about the players is C McHugh. It's interesting, you talked about players that had gotten points early on in the season and players that had gotten points later on. One of the more recent champions that we have is Proco. One of the earlier champions we have is Woody. C McHugh, in very many ways, I think is not actually that big of a name in the Super Magical Cup just because he hasn't attended that many events, but he's been so incredibly successful in the events that he has attended, that he still made the championships. And what I'm interested in seeing is, I haven't really seen what kind of decks C McHugh really likes to play, what he's really comfortable with, and what he would bring to a round-robin format.
Yeah, I've actually heard this called the Mekon deck. There is a player named Mekon who created this. But it's basically, it's like a hog cycle deck where you're using the Elixir Collector and the 2 cheap 1-cost cards to help get multiple pumps out. And if your opponent ever gives you an opening, you've got basically like Hog Lightning or Hog backed up with a Princess in order to really deal the threatening damage. It's kind of halfway between a Minor Inferno deck and a hog cycle deck, which is pretty interesting. Bakalo running Giant Poison. I love Bakalo for his double Prince play. I'm kind of bummed that we don't get to catch a double Prince game out of Bakalo, but I'm still rooting for him to advance. If I was a fanboy for anyone, it's the one double Prince player in the field. The
big question is, what is Bakalo's second deck, and does that involve double Prince? And even looking at Bakalo's Giant Poison deck, it's not Giant Poison Prince, it's actually just a standard Giant Poison Musketeer Mega Minion mix.
Right. Except, although it is worth mentioning that with both 1-cost cards and lacking something big like a Prince or a Bowler, this is a much more cycle-heavy Giant Poison deck than most you might see.
All right, let's go into the match and take a look at C McHugh versus Bakalo. All right.
Elixir Collector in Bakalo's opening hand, but not in C McHugh's hand, so that's a nice little advantage early for Bakalo, but we'll see if he can parlay that into a win.
Lightning is a very, very big card against things like any structure, really. And playing Collector like that in the front especially is just fodder for Lightning.
Absolutely. Huge advantage, though, for C McHugh. I don't know if you noticed that. He was able to play Skeletons and Ice Spirit, only 2 Elixir and 2 cards in order to dig his Elixir Collector out of his deck. Getting your Elixir Collector early is so crucial to a good early game that I can understand why people would like those extra cheap cards, because it helps you dig as deep as 6 or 7 cards into your deck without a huge Elixir commitment.
Yeah, and he's already cycled back to the Skeleton and the Ice Spirit. This time he used the Skeletons to defend and the Ice Spirit to go aggressive with the Hog Rider on the left side. 2 swings against a Mega Minion and Musketeer. Ooh. That's pretty worth it.
The other little side effect that McHugh got to take advantage of there was that the splash damage from the Princess hit that Elixir Collector twice.
It's really the little things, but here comes a first Giant push from Bakalo. Let's see how he puts this together. Inferno Tower is having trouble taking down the Giant. It's about still at half health. 2 towers shooting it, though.
work over, and they're going to be working on the tower. Oh, okay. The giant just went down. If those skeletons had a little bit more time, they would have shredded that tower. Skeletons do a very underrated amount of damage for sure.
Good defense, or rather good crisis management on C McHugh's side, stopped the damage from being more than it could have been, but still a fantastic push by Bakalo.
Yeah.
Good mastery over the kind of the giant poison and pushing past the Inferno Tower as well.
McHugh has a lightning that he has yet to use. He could theoretically use it maybe here, but he might hit the King Tower instead. I think the advantage of having lightning in your deck, though, is you want to be very secretive about it. I don't think you want to show your lightning too early on, because a key lightning in the last minute of the game can just lock the whole thing up, right?
Yep. Inferno Tower gets zapped again. Mega Minion on top of Musketeer, and that's going to be the big damage dealer taken care of for C McHugh. And C McHugh will counterattack with Ice Spirit Hog Rider, and these skeletons will not be surviving for long. Hog Rider gets a swing, but that was actually quite a bit of elixir spent on defense for Bakalo as well.
Great, to be fair though, great Ice Spirit. I mean, there were some solid plays there. The Princess is just outside of the poison, so that's going to give him some trouble. Really good defense. C McHugh's done this now 3 times. The Inferno Tower plus Mega Minion alone has really been enough to hold off most of these giant pushes. The downside of Bakalo's deck is that he doesn't have he doesn't have the Prince, the bowler, the sort of big heavy hitter that backs up the giant. He just has really a giant and Musketeer, and that's it. And that's making him very vulnerable to these Inferno Tower Mega Minion defenses.
I'm a little bit concerned that Bakalo is going so aggressive. I think he might get outcycled soon, but Princess in the back trying to work its way into the giant, and finally the Inferno Tower comes up for C McHugh, but it really seems like for the last kind of 30-40 seconds, C McHugh has been playing purely defense.
Yes.
Eventually, the momentum's going to come around to C McHugh's side, and this might be that time. Big lightning on both the characters. That might be a single swing. Could have been 2. If that lightning had come out a little bit earlier and the Musketeer didn't get to shoot, I think that could have been the end of the game for Bakalo.
Right, just came up. I agree. I'm not really sure why Bakalo has decided to move off of the cycle plan or the elixir collector plan, especially given that with the left tower being very full health, you could just play your collector over there and he's not going to lightning it, you know, and he's really not going to switch his attack to go that way because of the nature of just Hog Rider decks.
Oh, 604 health to 543, 2 minutes in overtime, and this game is coming down to the wire. Just a little bit of damage on either side, and the game could be over.
Bakalo doesn't seem concerned about those double princesses.
Oh, no!
Ooh, one more lightning is going to do this. Wow.
And the thing is, Bakalo now has to spend very expensive defense on the right side tower because a single Hog Rider swing could end the game for him.
I wonder what the logic is behind dodging. Oh my God, is he going to lose the left side tower? I mean, he's been sitting there ignoring him for a while, but now they're going to retarget onto the giant, which is like...
But they're back onto the left side
right.
tower.
Oh my God, is that left tower going to be the one that wins?
That's in lightning range. It's a...
Oh, it is! It's just going to take the shot! No! Wow!
C McHugh.
C McHugh really powered through Bakalo there. Bakalo made some very, I guess, controversial strategic decisions there. His logic was just to keep pushing and try to push through that last 300, 200 damage that he needed and just sort of ignore the princesses. But what happened was, I mean, C McHugh was able to defend, build those princesses up on the left side, and somehow lost the tower that was at full health, pretty much, you know?
So one of the things that I noticed about Bakalo's Double Prince play that we really, really liked from him when he was playing that Double Prince archetype was his ability to really, really split push and keep the aggression up. That was one of the big ways that he was able to circumvent a lot of the problems of playing against a bigger body deck and playing against a deck that was stronger in terms of elixir per damage and kind of efficiency matchups.
Right.
In this case, we saw Bakalo spend a lot of the late game kind of just throwing giant after giant after giant and not having success with it in terms of the giant actually connecting with the crown tower. And I feel like eventually that leveraged into such a big elixir advantage that C McHugh was able to place a bunch of princesses on the left side and still have a relevant push on the right side that Bakalo had to take care of, leading to that situation where the princesses were just shelling out that left side tower and there was no efficient way for Bakalo to deal with it.
Yeah, that was the big lack of him not having, again, like a prince, bowler, some extra follow-up cards. The only things that are going to go fight those princesses are what? Musketeers that you're using, and Mega Minions maybe that you're using to back up your giant. He just didn't have one to spare, it seemed like. Yeah. So next up, we've got a 1 versus 16 matchup here. Patriots 34 and level 99. This is actually game 3 of their match. They each took one early, so they're both using their alternate decks here. We've got Patriots 34 using his
Patented.
patented X-Bow deck against level 99's Giant Lightning. Now, we'll talk about this because I think Lightning is something we start to see a little bit more of, especially the Arrows Lightning combination instead of Zap Poison. Why do you think people would go for that?
So Lightning is really one of the biggest ways to just unify the almost a necessity, I would say. If you're playing a standard Giant Poison archetype, many of times, as we saw in the last match as well, facing an Inferno Tower is your greatest challenge.
Right.
And Lightning just combines the effect of essentially Poison and Zap together in terms of damage, in terms of slowing down the Inferno Tower and resetting it, and just does immense amounts of damage so that it doesn't survive as long and the Giant can kill it in 2 or 3 swings, and also the reset from Zap, and just puts that in one card. So you have space for more utility, right? Which comes in arrows, right? If you take Lightning, you gain the ability to take arrows as well.
Yes.
And you still have the ability for your Giant to push past an Inferno Tower.
Definitely. And I think you get these really good setups too, because like you're seeing a lot more returns of minions, Minion Horde, those kind of cards, and Zap just isn't going to cut it, especially on offense, you know? Yes. So having the arrows there to take out princesses and minions of that sort, and then Lightning has gotten a lot of value with the addition of Mega Minion, right? There's always a good Lightning target that I'm pretty excited to see how this one turns out.
All right. Let us take a look at Patriots versus level 99. Jumping right into it.
I think it's worth mentioning that we're probably going to live spectate the top 8 as well. I don't want to. I don't want the top 8 to be spoiled by boo-boo screen watchers, so we might be doing that. All right, so early push here. We've got Mega Minion.
Nice.
Ooh, the Ice Spirit pulls off to the side. It's a good thing that he played that Ice Wizard there, because otherwise I think that the Mini P.E.K.K.A. would have just run. Would have just run right by it.
Yep, and I mean level 99 had rather I think he cycled to it, but having Giant and Bowler in your hand in that situation, I don't know what the elixir looked like, but probably not too comfortable.
Right. I mean, he already was level 99 had already committed more elixir. He spent 6 to Patriots' 5.
All right, first Bowler push coming across, and interestingly, level 99 chooses not to assist it. Maybe he's waiting for a better elixir situation and chooses to start another push by playing the Giant.
Yeah, I think I know I play a Giant Poison quite a bit, and it's definitely one of those things where it's easy to get caught up in the idea of like, oh, I'll just put 10 elixir right at the river and we'll fight that way. Oh no, it wasn't enough to kill the Mega Minion.
Yeah, Mega Minion. That's one of the reasons why you see Mega Minion as a staple card, I would say, of many decks right now, because it just can't be. It's not comfortable to take down.
No, it's so tough. You can't fireball it. You can't poison it. It does get wrecked by cards like Archers and Musketeer and stuff, but if you can't reach it because it's very far back there on defense, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Patriots, definitely the favorite in this match, has won an unprecedented 3 Super Magical Cups. No one, not even Woody, has won 3 Super Magical Cups. Is the first person to actually knock Woody off of the #1 spot of the leaderboard ever. Level 99, the 16th seed in this tournament, has top 8'd twice, including a 2nd place finish in the very, very last Super Magical Cup of the season. But could be anyone's game from looking at it right now.
For the 2nd time, this Bowler is just ambling its way into the Inferno Tower, and we'll get nothing for it. And Patriots is going to set up. Okay, how are you going to stop the Mega Minion this time? The Fire Spirits didn't work last time, and I think Patriots is just going to save the elixir. And both times, however, Patriots crossbow has done a decent amount of damage, something that's you can't really laugh at that, right? It was a significant amount of damage, and now level 99 really has to play the catch-up game. Now, one big push there, we see it. There's the Giant Lightning combo that we were talking about, but it's really one big successful push from level 99 can really bring him back into this match. But as it stands right now, it seems like level 99 has trouble pushing past Patriots' defense to begin with.
Absolutely. There's definitely... you know, actually, I think Patriots' deck is probably the one that benefited the most from the log buff, now that I think about it, because being able to knock back anything, including... oh, wow. I think it's both going to jump. Including Giants, including other things that's really strong here. Patriots is using the Ice Spirit, Fire Spirit push is actually a pretty effective push there. It's only 3 elixir, but it forces you to really react to it. And then he used the log to do a little bit more chip damage. He's closing in on the ability to just kind of poison log his way to a victory.
Ooh, the lightning came in, and it was fairly late. I think the push was pretty much the cross. Oh, no! The cross.
Oh! It was just out of range again.
That might have been the win. I can't really
maybe
estimate.
Not.
Yeah, I
because
really
he doesn't have lightning in this deck anymore. He just has poison. He used to have lightning in a lot of the builds, but now it's a poison deck. So poison you 200. Oh my god!
Yeah,
that was a cocked back swing right there.
Yep. Inferno Tower actually tags onto the Mega Minion, and they're still lightning in hand, and the Inferno Tower is getting pretty low, but the crossbow actually has worked down a lot of the health of that giant as it was slowly walking across the map. And there we see the effects of that pushback on the log. Really effective.
It's getting them down. I think that's it, and that's it. That's game. Oh my God, Patriots takes it.
Man, it's just Patriots did not have a big blow-away crossbow, and this is something that gives me a lot of faith in crossbow decks, because oftentimes I feel like in the Super Magical Cup, more often than not, the crossbow was a situation where they played it at the start of the game, and they just kind of caught their opponent with a pants down, and took down 1.5k. 1k in tower health just in one go, and it was really a situation of like, darn, I wasn't ready for that. But in this case, Patriots had to fight for it, and he still was able to lock that crossbow onto the tower consistently.
Awesome. Whoa, that was quite a game. Let me remind everyone, by the way, do not spoil game results in chat. You will get 100% banned, no warnings. So like, just cheer for who you like, root for who you want. If do not, I know you can live spectate this if you're friends with them on Facebook, but I swear, just shut up, right? Just like keep your mouth shut. Because if you sit here and chat and go, I already saw the ending, Patriots won, you're instant banned. So don't ruin the show for other people. Don't ruin the show for yourself.
Now, for people who are watching who don't want the results spoiled, just keep this in mind that people could just be trolling you. Right.
They could also be trolling you, right?
So you never really know. Like even
you never truly know. You're right. But
is it really what happened?
But also,
don't do it.
But here's the thing: if you want to chat, make it easy on yourself and don't get banned. How about that?
All right, let's watch the next game. I think this is really exciting. This is probably my favorite deck of the season.
Oh, okay. All right.
The Lava Hound mirror deck that Proco uses with Baby Dragon, Mega Minion, Tombstone, Miner. I'm gonna say that this is my favorite deck in the Super Magical Cup.
You know, I wanna disagree with you, but I've loved Lava Hound ever since the last balance update. The Lava Hound decks have been a lot of fun. The combination of, I think, Mirror in this deck makes it really interesting because Proco has the ability to, if ESL Yo, say, opens with an Elixir Collector. Proco can not only Elixir Collector as well, but he can also mirror it and just sort of go over the top there and be like, oh, well, I'm really invested. You know? And while ESL Yo builds this big push behind his King Tower, Proco just has 2 collectors going that easily. You also have things like, of course, the Tombstone. Double Baby Dragon is like shockingly pretty good, even though like way better than Baby Dragon plus Baby Dragon. Somehow it's more than the sum of their parts together. And
I think it's really the level plus. Like certain cards, I really feel like Baby Dragon benefits a lot for some reason from the level plus, and in many ways the Mega Minion also. I think the Tombstone benefits from Mirror just in the fact that like now you have double the skeletons to gun up whatever you need. I mean, there is famously the P.E.K.K.A. and the Mini P.E.K.K.A.
Just
I think
walking in circles forever. You're right. ESL Yo playing a pretty standard giant poison deck, opting for the P.E.K.K.A. and the Mega Minion. No Prince, which I think interesting. Bowler is a card that's kind of fallen out of favor, bringing it back here, but I wonder how strong it's going to be against this primarily air deck. The biggest advantage of the Bowler is it's going to completely bowl over the Tombstones.
All right, let's jump into the match and see. Bowl over the Tombstone. Yeah, Bowler Tombstone is just brutal. Watching, it's just, there's something satisfying about it, but there's also something that's just disgusting. Too. It's too effective. All right, let's take down. We're going to get into the game. Proco. It's been interesting because since Proco's kind of arrival into the Super Magical Cup, he's kind of been this mysterious, mythical breakout player. As we've kind of held more events, Proco has shown weakness, I think. I think I would say that. He's not inhuman, right? I'm interested to see, though, if allowing him to play Lava Hound decks will still provide him the success that we've seen. It's just interesting. He's just an interesting player to watch right now.
The biggest weakness, I think, for Proco as a player is that he's a very well-known Lava Hound player. He actually played in a clan event recently, and the enemy team banned Lava Hound because he's such a known Lava Hound player. That can really hurt you in these group stages because these players have all known who's in the bracket for the whole week, so there's a lot of opportunity for them to
no.
1 hit! 2 hits! 3 hits! Oh, wow! ESL Yo takes an early lead. We were wondering if this all-air deck... Oh, God, we gotta get rid of those. Do not disturb mode it is. Whoop. Come on, buddy. There we go. Do not disturb. Oh, it is on.
That's weird.
Weird. That shouldn't have happened.
All right.
Yeah, so we were wondering if the giant poison deck would be able to handle the all-air deck, but now I'm almost flipping it around in my head like, well, with no ground defense, how do you stop Giant Bowler from just completely dunking on you?
Yeah, and it was just... It's interesting because Proco has so many air units that you almost need to have your Tombstone or need to make sure you have some way to eliminate the Mini P.E.K.K.A. right then and there, or else it will run up to your tower and get a swing. And as we talked about so many times, especially in the age of Mini P.E.K.K.A., one swing is enough.
I love the mirrored Mega Minions there, though. It's a bummer they both got caught in the poison, and that'll just kind of happen, right? But, I mean, I think that's one of the best ways for ESL, or for Proco to get back in this game, is to use something like a mirrored, that's 7 Elixir, but that'll stop a Giant Bowler push very effectively.
Yeah. Double attack helicopter stops that push for Proco, but the question is 40 seconds. This is probably Proco's last push. This one Lava Hound here is a dream right now.
Even one swing there.
Yep.
No, he's got 33 seconds left. I can see this is a pretty serious push. We've got double elixir. I can see this taking the tower and pushing it into overtime, but the question is, of course, ESL Yo already has a collector out.
Yes.
There's a lot already kind of going on here.
Fireball coming in on the back line. Mega Minion plus Bowler in the back line. Gonna do the work against the skeletons, but that Mega Minion is going ham for ESL Yo.
Yes, and the tank there, the Giant's gonna absorb all the lava pups.
Yeah, and really, ESL Yo is playing this out exactly like he needs to. Just start playing Giants, playing Mini P.E.K.K.A.s, playing units that will survive like the Mega Minion in the back. That level 7 Mega Minion is still out on the field wrecking havoc. And he ends up defending well enough.
That definitely went different than how I would have expected. I really expect the Lava Hound decks to have an advantage in that matchup, but if you commit too much to the air attack, how do you stop this massive ground push, especially without something like Elixir Collector?
Yes.
Etc.
So that's probably one of the reasons why we see Proco mirroring Tombstone so much, is because he realizes that, it just gets too dangerous sometimes.
Absolutely. Let's try to grab a match of people that we haven't yet seen. Trying to grab two people that we haven't. Ooh,
there's two.
We might actually have to go back a little bit. I want to make sure we don't have some of these matches go off the top. But let's grab, who's two that we haven't watched before? We haven't seen these two.
Turtwig.
Oh, buddy, this is an in-clan matchup, no less. This is gonna be a grudge match here between Darth Jar Jar and fellow clanmate and deck builder Turtwig Data. Let's talk about what do you got. We got two very interesting decks. Darth Jar Jar are both the one of the innovators, one of the lead sled dogs when it comes to Three Musketeers, and Turtwig Data is pretty much the innovator of these rocket or the mirror spell cycle decks. So, how do you think this matchup's going to go?
I think that Turtwig is very okay. I'm trying to think. I feel pretty confident saying Turtwig Data is the most advanced spell cycle player that we've seen.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree with that.
I think by far. And I think what that means is that if Turtwig Data can figure out how to set up his line of play to stop triple musketeers, either with using combinations of Tombstone, Princess, and maybe the Fireball or the Fire Spirits, dropping the Fire Spirits in cover of the skeletons to make sure that they can get up to the Three Musketeers. As long as Turtwig Data has a plan to defend the Three Musketeers and somehow Darth Jar Jar doesn't pull a quick one on him and change up the line of play, I almost think that there's not really a way that Darth Jar Jar can win this match.
Right. That's kind of what I'm wondering here too, is I want to give everyone a chance, but the mere fireball alone will kill all Three Musketeers.
Even without it, you have lightning against Three
Musketeers.
Musketeers.
Oh, you're right. This might be real. Let's take a look. Let's see how this one goes. I want to believe if anyone can outplay it, it's Darth Jar Jar, but I agree that just from looking at the deck list, it's a tough matchup because there are just so many cards in Turtwig's deck that just wreck Three Musketeers, right?
It needs to... The win for Darth Jar Jar needs to come from minor poison, probably, and not the Three Musketeers.
Right.
Is what I'm thinking. All right. Yep.
Oof. And here's the problem, is that Mirror also provides a safety net for Turtwig, where even if you do lightning something, and then he's like, haha, Three Musketeers, just mirror the lightning, right?
Worth it. All right. Princess actually getting some... So, Turtwig, I think that that's an excellent choice. Oh, yep. Just absolute destruction. Playing the Princess there to get any amount of damage, Turtwig really wants to get started early on doing any kind of damage he can to the towers. Letting the Tombstone die to pop the skeletons is actually a good choice here. And again, like I was talking about, using those skeletons to provide the buffer to allow the Fire Spirits to get past their deploy time and jump.
Right.
That's going to be the big thing for Turtwig data here.
I wonder what other, let's think about this now. What other pushes can Darth Jar Jar put together that don't rely on him getting completely blown out with his Three Musketeers, right? He can kind of function like a minor poison deck. He can kind of, also minor cycle. He got Princess at the River. You got minor poison. You're right. You've got the Ice Spirit to kind of chip in some damage. I think he's going to have to primarily play Three Musketeers on defense, maybe even splitting them behind his King Tower. Oh, are they out of range? Turtwig could have, I think Turtwig could have lightning there if he was a little quicker. I mean, he absolutely could have.
I don't know. I think that was a little bit of a mistake from Turtwig.
To take out the 3 on the right side?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was definitely a little slow and didn't want to risk it because there's a little bit, there's a 1 second cast delay and then there's the actual like zapping itself and you can definitely miss. I think to miss or to only hit 1 alone would have been such a bad risk. I don't think Turtwig needs to take any risk. You know, he doesn't need to put himself out there that much.
One thing that's very interesting is because this is a spell cycle deck, if you force Turtwig to try to save Elixir and play something like Fire Spirits as he did, if you just go super aggressive with your minor poison, what really does he have to drop to stop that? The Mega Minion, sure, okay, but at least you'd still have an excuse to play the poison to chip down the Mega Minion, and you're gonna play the minor anyways, right? Ouch.
Now there's a lightning. That's actually the toughest part really, is that it's hard for Darth Jar Jar to split without getting his tower lightning to death.
And I possibly would almost abandon the strategy unless you're going to send 2 Musketeers down the right
side,
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's lightning, and he's already gotten back the lightning. Oh, but they're spread
up.
Is
it going to be quick enough?
Oh, the mirror fireball takes him out, of course, because, and that's 5 elixir to take out 6 elixir.
So at this point, this is when I would play minor poison, right? Because really, Turtwig data, he only has spells, right? So he's going to drop a few units on defense, but if you just constantly just keep throwing it down, you're always going to get a little bit of damage, and really you need to pick up the race, right? Because Turtwig data is going to win in X amount of time.
Yeah, that's a very good point. He almost should be cycling like Minor and Knight on the right side. I like that placement because he did manage to avoid the Inferno Tower.
Yes. Yeah, perfect. You see, I think Darth Jar Jar is playing this well.
You're right.
He's very close. One more lightning mirror. Lightning will end it, but it's gonna be
who's
really close.
Got 12 elixir? Right, exactly. Oh, he just needs a zap now to take us home.
I don't think Darth Jar Jar has zapped.
No, he's got lightning down. That's it. Oh no!
Oh God! You see, this is what I'm talking about.
That was a second off. That was literally, if that Knight got down a little sooner and absorbed the shot, I think Darth Jar Jar wins that game.
Yeah.
As much as we gave him no chance to win from looking at the decks.
Darth Jar Jar needed to start cycling minor poison much earlier on. 80 health is just one play in the start of the game. At the start of the game, if he had just thrown minor right at the start of the game instead of his collector or whatever it was that got fireballed, if he had just thrown minor, he gets 1 hit, 2 hits, he could have won the game.
I agree. Like, you know, but that shows that even if there is a terrible matchup, like, I mean, again, I can't imagine a worse matchup than a Three Musketeers deck against Mirror Lightning Fireball.
He made it look,
and it didn't look that bad. He was a lot closer than I think anyone would have given him credit for. Ooh. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I think we had a good Vizard game down here as well that we could have grabbed. I just want to make sure that we don't get ourselves into a situation where we.
It was Vizard. Oh, we'll see it eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Turtwig. Oh, but we already saw Turtwig. So it's probably one of the games at the top.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to watch a lot of these first round games. What about this one? We got Vizard and Naruto are the last 2, and then actually there's 6 more people we got to watch to make sure we get everyone in at least once. I really like this. I think this Woody Trainer Chris match looks super interesting. Oh, buddy.
All right, Woody. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about Woody as a player.
Let's do that.
We haven't seen Woody in the Super Magical Cup in a long time. He got his points early, and then he kind of sat on them and just waited in his throne.
Yeah. Right? He had more than twice the points of the second place person at one point. Actually, more than 3 times the points at one point. So he just
only at the very last point did Patriots overtake him by winning 3 first place finishes, and then he finally overtook Woody by just
exactly. And that shows because Woody in the first 3 or 4 events, he won the 800 player tournament. Won the first one of the season, and I think finished top 4 and second the next 2 weeks. So just real dominant performer.
As a player, I actually think that Woody playing the Mortar actually is playing the much more difficult siege card to get away with in the current meta. I need to be convinced about it. I think if anybody can do it, Woody can do it. But I think that Mortar is having such a hard time against big body decks of the age that I want to see Woody bring something that's going to surprise me and make Mortar work, but I don't have the confidence.
Yeah, so you know, when we actually looked at we did Twitter polls, right? Who do you think's going to win each group? Who do you think's going to advance? Most people did not pick Woody to advance out of his group, which is crazy. Wild because he should be one of the clear favorites in the entire tournament.
Yes,
but didn't quite work out that way, and instead, most people are expecting people like Trainer Chris to upset him. Now, I think part of the reason why Woody wasn't expected to get out is everyone knows he's a Mortar player. You just predict Mortar well in advance, and you just make sure that you have decks that are prepared for it. But it looks like Trainer Chris actually doesn't have a very good anti-Mortar deck. It's a lot of air stuff. As soon as you drop a Lava Hound in the back, he's going to drop a Mortar. And lightning a Mortar isn't exactly like the greatest thing. It's a bad elixir trade. There might not be a lot of stuff there.
Not quite the same as a crossbow.
And I'm looking at it. He's got arrows. Trainer Chris has arrows, and there are Minion Horde and Spear Goblins in there. But if that arrows ever comes down for like a princess, the Minion Horde could just run away with it.
Woody is very good at Minion Horde.
Very good. He's one of the best people who are able to take control of that sort of situation. I think it's that bottom one right there. I think we just had it. I think it's that one. Yeah, it's that one.
All right. We'll see. We'll see. Woody, make it happen. Make it happen. Oh my God. Come on.
What's going on? Why can't we watch the game? Did it scroll? No, it's weird. Oh, okay. It's just regular old internet. That's fine.
Super up.
Come on. What's wrong with our iPad?
Should we restart?
Oh, there it is. Okay, just internet.
All right.
We also get the Wi-Fi symbol of death sometimes.
The Wi-Fi monster.
Absolutely.
All right.
A bunch of follows here.
Oh, thanks so much for everybody following. Season. Oh, Woody's just going ham.
Oh no!
The miner actually makes a connection. Wrong guess, wildly wrong guess from Trainer Chris, and that Minion Horde is making its way into that Lava Hound.
No arrows in his opening hand. Look at that. Arrows are down a little deeper, and once he got the Lava Hound in, that ties up 7 elixir.
Yes. Now he will be able to cycle to arrows, but does not have the elixir to play, and Woody has gone away with so much value for all the targets that would be able to be arrows.
I mean, the first, now he's got arrows in hand, but he's got 700 damage on his tower to kind of show for that.
And now if he wants to play arrows against a princess, he knows that the Minion Horde, the Spear Goblins, are in cycle.
Very good point. The Mortar comes down, protected.
Nope. Still. Ooh. Exactly like you said. Okay, you lightning the Mortar. Yep. Now what?
Yeah, exactly. And that's 6 elixir. Now he's got to sit here and bring the miner up. And while the miner's actually pretty good at fighting the princess and even the Mortar at that point, 9 elixir. I mean, you spent 9.
Talk about damage. I mean, we see these situations where crossbow locks into a tower and shoots, and finally does 1,000 damage. 2 shots from the Mortar, 1,000 health on that tower.
Right. Very good point by some of the spectators in chat is that Tombstone is one of the most hard anti-Mortar cards out there because the Mortar will lock onto the steady stream of skeletons.
It's kind of terrible. Like Princess to Tombstone as well.
Right. So it's actually kind of in Woody's favor that you would see a Tombstone come down to block your mini P.E.K.K.A. because that gives you free reign here.
Yes, and that's probably. I mean, there are many reasons to play a mini P.E.K.K.A., right? But that's probably one of the big reasons why Woody does. Locked onto the tower. Yep, you're gone.
Fire. Wow! And I think he's going to take that tower down at least, if not with one more shot. Okay. Oh, that's an arrows, though, right there. If there was ever an arrows, that's 8 elixir for 3. What a deal.
In a bad situation where the minion's coming from the left side, tagging onto the tower as well.
Oh, that tower's going to go down. It looks like it's going to go down with only a minute to go. Oh, wow. Trainer Chris on his back foot since the opening moment of the game has turned it around and taken a tower just at the 1 minute mark.
So it's interesting. Okay, Woody's going to play the miner to finish off that tower on the right side, and he tried to play the mortar on the left side, but got gummed up by the tombstone as Chat and you were talking about. But now we're down in a one-to-one situation, and I don't think Woody is worse off for this at all.
Great timing with that Lava Hound because the #1 counter to Lava Hound in Woody's deck is actually putting a mortar down, right? Like you put it down right as he plays Lava Hound. By playing the Lava Hound right as the mortar dies, you know there's not another one coming up, and he can kind of get away with it.
Man, there was fantastic defense by Woody on his princess. The miner came up to try to take down the princess, but the mini P.E.K.K.A. stood in front of it to defend. And I think that Woody, I mean, we talk about Woody as a player, and one of the biggest things about Woody is he is probably one of the best mechanical players out there.
Look at how spread out his cards are. You can see Trainer Chris was trying to line up a lightning. He had lightning hovered, but everything was so spread out, there was no good placement. Woody is so sharp. Like, very few players are as accurate to the exact square where a card needs to be played in order to maximize defense. He knew lightning was in that deck. He didn't let lightning blow him out.
Tough situation for Woody. You have to play cards that can get arrowed down, and this might be the end of the match for him. Plays a mortar to defend and gum up the Lava Hound, then that might have been his saving grace, because if he was not able to do enough damage, or if arrows had come a little bit sooner, that Lava Hound had free reign up to the tower, and then you are in trouble town.
Absolutely.
Miner comes up to stop the princess, but I think Woody needs to reset right now. He needs to figure out how he's going to align his elixir and make sure that he can punish Lava Hound drops in this scenario.
Ooh, elixir collector in the bottom right. That's interesting. I wonder why he would go for... I mean, I understand why, because you can invest a little bit, but when a Lava Hound's bearing down on you, I don't know if I'd be that brave.
Yeah. It's a tough call to make, but I actually think, strangely enough, Woody is making the right decisions. Again, arrows has to come out for the minion horde, but 2 spear goblins on the left side actually survive it and will be able to provide value. And every little thing you can get, the fact that arrows exist is already a bad thing for Woody. He's trying to make best of a bad situation.
Absolutely. Spear Goblins are a card that, we haven't seen much of in the Super Magical Cup, and they're really impressing me in this matchup. There's no Zap in Trainer Chris's deck. You don't really want to arrow Spear Goblins, and plus there's so many good arrow targets that those things are actually doing a ton of damage, just getting way more than 2 elixir worth of value.
Can I just make a comment that Woody's mind games on his Miner is absolutely fantastic. Yes. Trainer Chris is having a terrible time defending against them.
Absolutely, and you can see Trainer Chris almost feels obligated. Uh-oh, this is going to be a lot of damage.
There's a lot of troops coming in. The pups and the minions take down the tower to 583, and this is coming down to the wire.
And he's got a lightning. I wonder if Trainer Chris is going to go ahead and use his lightning here just to get rid of the princess. It lets the tombstone... Oh, he does? Okay.
Oh, boy. That's just one lightning away, but when he tags a miner onto the tower, the princess will actually get splashed, and the minion horde in the back is going to protect the princess. This is getting really, really close. I think the princess, is locked onto the Mega Minion instead, but another miner. This is so close.
The pressure on.
There just needs to be one more lightning. 440. The mini P.E.K.K.A comes up. Oh, no!
Oh, no! Oh, no! One more shot. He just sees the lightning. He's got 3. Oh, he opts to play the tombstone instead. He was doing the princess there because princess does enough
lightning.
Damage.
Just play the lightning. No, stop playing elixir. Just play the lightning. You just need to make it to light.
Oh, no! One swing. Woody takes it over Trainer Chris. Wow, I agree with you. There was so much. He just needed to live to 6, and it was really close. But I think he could have gotten away with just any cards, like the one tombstone. He was so worried about the single princess shot. One princess shot would have taken that tower down. So he was worried because the princess came in the middle, and then there was a princess at the river. There was a lot of situations where Trainer Chris was trying to guard from all angles. Woody kept the pressure up and never let Trainer Chris actually even get to 6 elixir.
How in the world do you win in a situation like that? How do you win? How do you do it? And we talked about, I want Woody to surprise me and impress me. And that was I think that was definitely Trainer Chris's game to lose.
The chat is blowing up right now. Whoa! And that is why Woody's probably the best player Super Magical Cup has ever seen, right? Technical play through the roof, weird off-meta decks that I think a lot of people aren't expecting or ready for, and he making the best.
Spear Goblins.
And Mortar! It's easy to forget that Mortar wasn't always a real popular card. It hasn't been a real popular card recently. Yeah. All right, who do we have left? We got at least... We might watch a few extra games if we can't catch the exact, one of everybody. We need Naruto, Zadian, who else?
Marcel P, we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, actually, let's go back to the bracket and take a look real fast.
Yeah, let's catch up.
This one, yeah.
It's been kind of crazy. Oh, there's a Marcel P Zadian game. There we go.
Okay. Marcel P Zadian is definitely a game that we need to watch then. And there'll be one more after that, and I think it's got to involve Naruto.
Vizard or something.
It's Naruto Vizard. Yeah, you're right. Naruto Vizard will be the other one. Marcel P and Zadian.
Are we gonna get dunked? I mean, neither of us picked Woody coming out of the groups. I'm really curious what the results are.
We can take a look actually at the results. Let's see. I don't think group play is totally finished yet. It's not totally finished, so we'll do a quick peeko over at the bracket so far. Clyde is leading his group 2-0 with Patriots 1-1.
Yeah.
That
was another big question.
I picked Clyde. I
picked Clyde to move out of the group. So
I picked Clyde to win the whole thing, actually. Clyde is a very underrated player.
And especially Clyde's big victory was the Season 1 championships in this format.
Absolutely.
Being the 16th seed, he won it.
C McHugh dominating so far over the triple Reddit Alpha group, which is a bad news bears for there. Look at that. 1-1 ties all around
my God.
In Group C. And we can't go down. We can't go down to Group D. Oh man, I can't scroll anymore. But Vizard is 2-0, Turtwig 1-1, Darth Jar Jar 1-1, Naruto 0-2.
Vizard is just Vizard is a great player. Maybe it's just the bias from seeing him take second place so many times. It's so easy to underrate him.
Yes. Vizard is so... I mean, I have Vizard as definitely one of the stronger players in the whole tournament. He goes so deep into the tournament and just wasn't able to lock it in. He probably benefits by being in the same group of other sort of top 4 players. Like, I don't know if they all just get nervous when the stakes get higher or what, but yeah, Vizard is definitely... So Vizard has already advanced from his group. Clyde has already advanced from his group, and C McHugh have already advanced from their group into the top 8. There's a whole lot more to figure out.
The big question mark is Group C.
Yes.
Everybody is tied up. I really hope we don't get into a situation where...
They can't, because it'll be 2-2-1s and...
Right.
You're right. It'll be 2-2-1s and 2-1-2s. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got Marcel P. Zadian up next.
Oh, boy. Oh, man.
Let's check on this one. So I'll move this up. Marcel P. So, Marcel P., one of the best Rocket Cycle players in the game today. In fact, he picked Rocket as his profile picture. So talk to me about how this deck works. What makes this different from the sort of minor poison decks?
So really, there are 2 big differences. One, Marcel P is not playing Bowler, he's not playing Log, and he's not playing, as you spoke about, Miner, right? So he's not looking to push the Miner onto the opponent tower and take down health or collectors or princesses in that way. He's really just looking to spell cycle. And what I think is going to be key for him is playing the Knight for a very, very incredibly efficient defense, because really Knight's big downfall is on offense, right?
Right.
Defensively, he's just as good as any other card.
He's actually significantly high DPS and a very underrated attack speed. Fast attack speeds are very, very good on defense because it makes you not as vulnerable to cards like Zap and stuff. We see how good Lumberjack can be shredding things on defense. Knight has a very similar attack speed, only about 1 second every swing.
So it's the combination of Knight, Ice Wizard, and Inferno Tower that's going to take down the majority of what you need in terms of big bodies or just any kind of push. And then having the Mega Minion on the side is just, I think, a great meta card to play. You will get so much value out of almost any deck that's being played right now just by playing the Mega Minion. Pick that card up.
Right.
Ice Spirit, Fire Spirits, the Spirits, as we've always talked about, incredibly strong cards, and I think that Ice Spirit is probably one of the best cards in the game right now. So.
Zadian, I think, and they both have the sort of CG style deck, so this is going to be a grind fest really for both players. What I think is advantageous for Zadian in his version of the deck is Miner's a little cheaper, right? So he can be a little faster with his cycling of his Elixir Collectors and a few other cards, but also Log is going to be really strong against those Spirit pushes, against the Knights and Ice Wizards that come across. So I think both of these players are experienced Siege players, so and of course they're in Reddit Alpha, the Siege clan of all clans. So I think it'll be cool to see how this one turns out. I don't know if that was I don't think that was the same.
They have the same decks.
That's fine. Yeah, same deck, same thing. Okay, that's fine. Same thing. As long as we're picking the same decks we just showed.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, yeah. I'll leave that thought to myself for now. Oh boy, is it worth it? I think it is.
No, it does hit. Wow.
I think it is.
I thought that was gonna miss 100%. The tough thing to judge about air units, especially the Mega Minion, is you got to look where the shadow is, not where the model is. The model looks a little further up because it's off the field. So if you follow the shadow, that must have been really close.
All right. Cards get taken down, and this is what we're talking about. Really, do you expect this push to really do any damage to the tower? No, but you're okay with it because you're spell cycling.
Right, exactly. It's more can he spend less than 6 elixir to defend it, and now less than 10 elixir? Absolutely. He spent 4 and took very little damage.
Poison. Now, okay, this is one of the reasons why poison is so strong. Slowed up the Mega Minion, slowed up the tower. Knight got 2 hits.
Yep. Oh wow, and those Fire Spirits again. Woo, both of them. I mean, both of these decks are incredibly defensive. They're set up in a way, and wow, Zadian already has 2 pumps out. They're set up in a way where... nothing to hit. Okay. Where they're going to try to spend as little on defense as possible, bank that elixir advantage that they earned from defending cheaply, and then shoot it at the enemy in the form of a spell. But when neither of them really have powerful attacks, both of them have a great opportunity to counter these 5 elixir pushes for 2, 3. There's a lot of elixir advantage to be had. Both of them actually kind of want to avoid casting any units. I think Zadian has the smart move here by, as much as possible, just trying to play the collector game.
Yeah. All right. That's a big value poison right there. Hitting 2 collectors and the tower. Not the tower that Marcel P would like, but if it's a CG deck and it grinds out far enough, you know, maybe the damage will become relevant.
Well, and there's remember, neither of these players are Turtwig data, so they don't have their mirror for the mirror rocket. If Marcel P had mirror rocket, he'd already have that right tower locked down, right? And could just play full defense. But he actually is going to have to rocket twice and then maybe get a poison in there as well, or an ice spirit to connect, something like that.
Marcel P identifying that he's actually got enough of an elixir advantage to just throw the rocket down, and I don't think there's a good way for Zadian to punish it, actually. Looking at what he has in hand, it just doesn't seem like, okay, so now Marcel P, suppose they were on even elixir and he's down now 6. What really can he do to do a bunch of damage to hurt Marcel P for doing that? And he's just one rocket away from winning the game now.
Yeah, I think Spell Cycle actually has an advantage over Miner because when you can just play pure defense, you're never putting yourself out there, you're never overextending. You can always be ready to defend against Miners, whereas there is no defense for Hog or for rockets.
Spell cycle.
Yeah, there's nothing. What do you defend a rocket with, right? So the rockets can keep coming down, and even though it was really close, there was always a knight. There was always an ice wizard ready to go and defend against those miners coming in. That prevented the miner from ever getting the full 500 damage.
Easy.
Oops. Interesting. I think that was game 3 because the one we had looked up earlier, Zadian won that game, and then in game 3, I think that was Marcel P winning. All right, so Zadian 13, Marcel P.
So now it's
4.
The one and only Naruto versus Vizard.
That's right. Let's take a look at how this game shakes out. Boink. Oh, looky, we've got an ice golem, the debut. Hey, you know what? This is worth mentioning because it was actually in the Season 1 championship. There was a balance update that went in after the last Super Magical Cup of the season, but before the championships, and everyone had to operate kind of in a new world with these new cards. Ice Golem was released 2 days ago, and we have definitely allowed Ice Golem in this tournament, because why not? And Vizard has committed to getting that thing out and surprising some people with it. So let's see.
And it's interesting because initially when you look at Ice Golem, it's not a card that you see, like, maybe not something like Lumberjack, right? Where you're looking at it as like, man, that thing has a lot of DPS. You know?
Yeah, no, not at all. It's actually, I would say, a very underwhelming card when you first look at it.
Yes.
And it's one of those cards, it's like a sit up in bed card where you go, this card sucks, and you put it away and don't think about it. And then all of a sudden you go like, it can block Sparky or something like that, you know what I mean? Like it can defend against minions by the tower will kill the things and it tanks for them. You know, like you can hog push it. Like, you know, you have all these cool uses. It's 2 elixir, it's a lot of hit points. If you can find a use for a 2 elixir meat shield, and I think you can, there's definitely a lot of cool use. What do you think is going to be the number 1 use?
Surprise with, for example, Darth Jar Jar. I thought he was going to play a 3 Musketeer deck with Knight Ice Golem.
Oh, good point. Yeah, that's a good idea. I actually was expecting some more Hog Cycle decks with Ice Golem because it's such a good cycle to distract.
Ice Golem, Hog Rider.
Yeah, even if it just distracts like the Musketeer or the guards or whatever, it allows the Hog to zoom right by it, and then if it blows up, it freezes the defense anyways.
In the grand scheme of giant poison, though, the only thing I can imagine the Ice Golem doing is perhaps soaking up an Inferno Tower. I don't really know. I think it just comes down to let's throw this as a very cheap tanking card to stop things like miners and Inferno Towers and whatever, because it's so cheap, right? The closer you get to one elixir card, Skeleton and Ice Spirit, you can almost just, this will gain value, just throw it out there. You know, you don't even really have to. You're not saving the skeletons for this perfect key situation to blow out the opponent's tower, right? You're just
not at all.
I can gain value here, I'll use it.
Think how often giant poison decks play giant on defense just as to soak. Well, now instead of having to build your push from the middle of the board, you can just play Ice Golem to hold off and then continue to build your push from behind the King Tower. But of course, we're talking a lot about Vizard. Naruto has top 4'd, I think, 3 times in the last month. So like a very, very strong, consistent player. He's playing the Minor Inferno deck, the Siege, grindy defense control that we've seen. We'll see if Vizard's giant poison can push through it. The key for Vizard is going to be to try to play like 2 to 3 giants, really, to like cycle them through. While and of course Naruto's going to have to keep the pressure on. He's never really going to want to fight the full strength of Vizard's deck because it might be able to overwhelm his Inferno Tower defense.
All right, let's see what the result of this game is.
Also, another good idea coming out of chat here. Thank you, Sam Cutelli, for bringing it up. Ice Golem can be played in front of the giant to soak an Inferno Tower. Yeah. It's got enough hit points that it takes a little bit of time for the Inferno Tower to heat up, and then when it dies, it slows the Inferno Tower to heat up on the next thing.
Let's see. Here comes the first push, and you could play your Ice Golem right here.
And as you can see, you know, you might go like, the Ice Golem's not going to kill any of those guards, but the tower will, and that's a 2 for 3.
The tower
Not
is
bad.
your strongest card.
Absolutely. The tower is the best card in the game. It costs 0.
Yes.
Gives you pumps.
All right, that giant is dead.
Yeah, well, 5 for 5. Yeah, I think Vizard just knew to abandon that push. His goal was to try to get the elixir collector out. Great placement there.
Oh, nice! The ice spirit soaked up the first swing.
So he spent 5 to defend that 3, but he defends the elixir collector.
Yeah.
That's probably more important.
And this musketeer is all fine and dandy.
I think that giant could have been played a little bit further back just to buy a little bit more time. I guess in the end it doesn't quite matter, but.
Here it comes. You've got poison, you've got zap, and the giant is already there. I think this Inferno Tower is going down.
Definitely. Now the question is though, will the Mega Minion finish off the giant before it gets there? And it does.
Gets. Okay, he has to spend zap, but still 2 shots. Vizard wins.
Right. Strength for Vizard. Both players now have their elixir collector though, so I think the strength for Vizard is to get his elixir collector out, try to defend against that miner. Naruto's thinking miner. Here it is. The miner's coming in on the left side. Can he defend it again? He does. He gets the ice spirit.
God, the timing.
The timing is so sharp. A little earlier, the musketeer was a little too far away.
Yeah.
Miner got a swing or two, but again, Vizard's got to be happy. If he can keep doing that on every collector that he plays, he's in good shape. Now, I wonder again if that was a mistake. Is it supposed to be Ice Golem behind Giant or in front of Giant, right? Like,
yeah, I would imagine you want to play the Ice Golem in front, but that's just me.
It could be, though, if that was the correct positioning, it's to defend the musketeer.
Yes.
They try to play like, guards or something on the musketeer, and that buys you a little bit of time. Ooh, good zap there. Great zap. It retargets the tower onto the miner and lets the Mega Minion get a bunch of swings.
Yeah, really, the last point of health is the most important. That Mega Minion at 1 health just did 1,000 damage, 600 damage, 700 damage.
And that's one of the strengths of zap as a combat trick. It's not so much the 200 damage or whatever that the zap actually does. It's the retargeting, the ability to set people up and really run away with the game. And actually, I think the Ice Golem might push the miner off the tower, or actually gets in between them and forces the miner to retarget.
Double giant.
Here we go. Now this is what.
Now he has poison zap as well. This is elixir advantage in a nutshell.
But double laser beams are going to build up very, very quickly.
Oh, but there's still a second giant in the back.
Oh, you're right.
And you can zap it still.
Yes, and the poison's going to take it down. Oh, no, this is exactly what Naruto did not want to see, which is the double giant, the building up the push. Those extra tanks have been pretty useful. I'm impressed with Ice Golem so far. The game's not over yet.
Oh,
yes, it is. Okay. Vizard takes that game. Wow, and I think that was all. We have seen all 16 players now, at least once each. And let's see how many more games we have to watch before the top 8. We're going to live spectate the top 8 to prevent any sort of spoilers or bummy bumps from happening. Here we go. Woo. Round 3 may begin now. Wow. Cool. It looks like they're about wrapped up here. They should be going to the top 8 anytime. Yeah, we'll refresh this.
They've already started the top 8, actually.
They have not started the top 8, I don't think.
We'll check if Proco and Trainer Chris are.
I think Proco, yeah, let's take a look. I want to make sure. Proco, I believe, and Trainer Chris are in the same group. Okay. Yeah, they are. Okay, so this is the last. This is still some group 3. So let's see who had. Let's go here. There's got to be some good. Here we go.
Oh, that is the alternate deck.
Yeah, so I think this is the 1-1 match between, we mentioned earlier that everyone in Group C was tied 1-1. So let's see who's going to advance here. ESL Yo and Woody playing in round 3, the final round of Group C on who's going to advance. Let's put Woody and ESL Yo up top. All right, ESL Yo versus Woody. What do we got here? We got kind of standard giant poison, right, on ESL Yo. He's got the only kind of like notable thing to me there is he's running Bowler, which is interesting, and he's not running Prince, running Mini P.E.K.K.A. instead of Prince, and then running Bowler in a world where we haven't seen too many bowlers recently. Woody's deck, what do you think? Good, bad matchup?
I think this is a bad matchup.
Okay.
I think this is a bad matchup. This is a classic mortar deck. There is nothing tricky about it. There is nothing new age about it. It's the mortar deck that we've been playing ever since the start of the game. And it has to deal with big body. It has to deal with bowler. It has to deal with Mega Minion. I think this is the classic reason why mortar is weak in the meta.
Okay, because of decks like this. Yes. I think that, so if Woody's going to pull this out, he has the Inferno Tower, which is a great Great thing for him to use in this matchup. He's going to want to either use Minion Horde effectively and try to dodge those poisons with the Minion Horde as much as he can, and then also try to surround Bowler. Don't just drop all 4 barbs in front, but if you can put the barbs where 1 are in each corner, that's actually a really good matchup for the barbs, and they'll kill the Bowler, but you're right.
Yeah. I mean, this is as classic as it gets.
Yeah,
you're using fireball arrows. You're using double 5 elixir card defense, you know, the Barbarian Minion Horde, which at the time where it was being played, I was convinced that that was a terrible idea, because why would you ever in the world have 2 defensive cards that you will rely on that cost 5 elixir?
To be fair, that was very early in the game's lifespan, before cards like Princess and Ice Wizard and stuff existed. So this will be the last game before we get into the top 8. I believe the top 8 is ready to go. Over 500 viewers are thirsty for the top 8. God. Oh, wow. So right away, Woody's going to start off with... with the combo, and oh no, this is looking real bad. That Mega Minion, oh, and the poison comes down. They should be able to stop that.
Oh no, they didn't get their last swing. That's 4 swings of the giant. Look at it, Supercell.
Supercell, please.
My God.
Yeah. So what do you think? I think Giant could maybe use 1 more nerf. I actually don't. Here's the thing. I actually don't think Giant is the broken, the overpowered card in the Giant decks. It's Poison. I think Poison's really the card that needs to be changed or dealt with. But I do think that Giant could maybe use a little bit of a haircut when it comes to hit points. If you think of the way, and actually Woody and I were talking about this, so all credit to Woody for his very insightful commentary, is that Giant is meant to be a DPS test for your deck. It's a test for you. Can you just kill a completely defenseless high health troop before it hits your tower? But the problem I have with Giant is even when you do defend it, even when you are prepared for it, it still makes it to your tower and hits a few times. So it might be a little too difficult of a DPS test. Mortar set up there. The skeletons were going to block, but it wasn't enough for that for the Inferno Tower. Or to protect the mortar.
That Inferno Tower killed a bunch of things. It got a Giant, it got a Boulder, it got a mini pack. Yeah, but I agree. I mean, that Giant walked up, and that really puts it into perspective. 5 swings for the Giant, and you're down 1,000 health, 1,300 health.
Very interesting placement. You don't see that placement a lot. What Woody's trying to do with that front elixir collector is not give up an easy fireball. Fireball can't hit both of them, and he's assuming that the opponent's never going to go down the actual left side. So that's a very, actually, you know what? That might be a maneuver that we don't see a lot of that maybe is more mathematically correct than playing them double behind the tower. It's worth keeping that in mind.
I agree. Mega Minion will boop. Oh, no more collector.
Ooh, now that's a bummer. Well, sometimes that'll happen, right?
Oh, God. And that really was the result of Poison on Minion Horde, right? Poison took down the Minion Horde. The Mega Minion was free to just fly around. All right, this is a tough push. Oh, yeah. That always sucks. If the Ice Bear hits all 5 of the Minion Horde, then you really have to take a dunk. Mortar will be placed down and draw away all those big bodies, but this is a big reason why I feel like Mortar is bad against big body compositions, because, okay, you're drawing them around, and actually, the Minion Horde is a perfect placement for that, but the Mini P.E.K.K.A actually breaks away, has to play the Barbs as well, double 5 elixir, and this has already been a very expensive defense for Woody, but very good on him to pull them all the way to the other side. And the question is, the big body stops Woody from getting any kind of aggressive pressure. It's very hard for Woody to actually put damage onto his opponent's tower, and so eventually ESL Yo is going to make a push that gets through, and he's going to be able to win off of it. Bowler across the river, actually, outside of range of the Inferno Tower, and it's just really tough for Mortar to get anything done. Zap on the Minion Horde will take care of that, and now ESL Yo is in prime position to make something big happen. Mega Minion plus Giant on the right, but Bowler is on the left side, and it might actually cleave the tower. Mortar gets placed down, and down goes a Bowler. And finally, the Inferno Tower comes up. 1 mortar shot onto the tower, and this might be a key moment for Woody, but the Giant actually brings down the mortar before it dies to the turret. It's actually so healthy. Minion Horde again, and ESL Yo's deck is actually pretty uncomfortable when dealing with the Minion Horde, and I think that's been a big winning moment for Woody. But it's hard, really. I still can't imagine a scenario where Woody actually puts damage onto ESL Yo's tower, and this is a dangerous situation. The Giant in the back, and Woody should cycle back to the Minion Horde, but this is actually looking tougher and tougher. The Mega Minion now is still in prime position to take down every single unit in that Minion Horde, and now the Mega Minion moves its way across to the tower. Woody has to play the Inferno Tower in front of his own to tank up the Mega Minion, but it's getting worse and worse. Another excuse to play poison. The Giant is still alive, and just one swing might do it.
Just one! It's a fireball! It's a little late on the fireball, but now it's just one more poison for the win for ESL Yo.
Oh, man. And Woody played some fantastic defense, but the truth of the matter is just Woody has to deal with dealing enough damage to the Giant to make it not be a threat anymore. And as you were saying, it is a DPS test, but sometimes you do enough damage to the Giant and you still don't. The Giant still makes it to your tower, and that was the case.
Yeah. So unfortunately for all the Woody fans in the crowd, I know there's a lot, Woody loses to ESL Yo. ESL Yo is going to advance to the top 8, and Woody does not make it out of groups, as so many predicted, but I can't help it. It feels like the end of an era. I feel bad about it. That's not what I wanted to see.
You know, I'm confident. So the meta is a cycle, right?
Yeah.
It goes around and it comes around, and one day the mortar will come around again.
Yep.
And Woody is gonna start killing people.
Oh, I mean, there's no shame in not making it out of the groups of this tournament. 16 of the best players. Any one of these players could take a game off someone else. But guess what? You want to hear some crazy-ish that's about to go down? We have a 3-way tie in Group D that we are going to resolve right now with some sudden death matches. Vizard, Darth Jar Jar, and Turtwig Data are all 2-1. That's why I got pulled out. I had to be a referee. They're all 2-1. They all have beaten each other in head-to-head matches. Vizard beat Darth Jar Jar, Jar Jar beat Turtwig, and Turtwig beat Vizard. They're going to play... And they all
Naruto got dunked.
And they all have the exact same amount of crowns won in their games. So we are actually going to this super sudden death tiebreaker. We're going to see one game between Vizard and Jar Jar, Jar Jar and Turtwig, Turtwig and Vizard. If one of those players, and we'll see what the top 2 is after that, we're going to use the crowns as tiebreaker. So in this single game, taking like 2 or 3 crowns in a game is going to be very advantageous because that can help you secure advancing. Only one of these players can move to the top 8.
Oh gosh, I would have never imagined that we would get a 3-way tie because it necessitates somebody losing every single match.
Well, it does, yeah.
Why?
Sorry. Oh, here we go. Let's go live spectate these.
All right, so the first up is going to be Vizard versus Turtwig.
Yes. So I'll switch these up.
Gosh.
So one game each. This is not a full match. They get to pick whatever deck they want in order to use it, and it's going to come down to crowns and, of course, wins. If one of these players, like let's say if one of these players loses twice, they're done. They're out, right? The other people get to move on.
Man, that's so interesting. Ice Golem on Fire Spirits is a 2-for-2, and you don't get any damage on your tower.
Yep. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, you're right. Ice Golem has so many uses. It's going to take a few weeks for people to figure out the entire litany of ways that you can use Ice Golem effectively. I'm just glad we get to see another Ice Golem match.
All right. I like that positioning of the Ice Spirit. Anything you play is going to protect the Musketeer.
Ooh.
Oh, I like that too.
Wow,
the Musketeer gets some space.
Oh, it gets some space. I was actually liking it because it separated the two, which I thought was kind of neat.
I think if Vizard had committed to zapping that Inferno Tower, it would have been a really different push because now the Giant and the Ice Golem survive, and the Musketeer comes back and is also alive.
One thing that's going to take people a while to get used to as well is the Ice Golem has a very wide radius when it blows up. That splashes a 3 square in either direction. Oh, and it does get down just early enough. The Giant is now tanking Turtwig Data's Expo. And we didn't see Turtwig's Expo deck earlier. It was a something else. Oh, the Ice Golem comes out first.
All right, and that's what we were talking about. Ice Golem tank, and it slows down the Inferno Tower.
And it slows down that Expo, which Expo is a very vulnerable card to getting slowed.
Getting slowed is the one thing you do not want to happen to your Expo.
Right.
Fire Spirits. Oh, tries to zap to make the Mega Minion survive, but didn't quite get it.
Turtwig with the well played. Turtwig, a gentleman even in high stress situations.
Yes.
Downside
like some other names.
Downside for Turtwig Data though is he doesn't have Rocket or Miner, so Vizard does have the ability just to build up these pretty insane elixir advantages if he can. Turtwig Data and Darth Jar Jar also have a little bit of game theory here. They both want to advance. They're clanmates, both members of Reddit Alpha. Both of them are really going to want to beat Vizard because they would hate to see their clanmate not make it.
All right, here comes. This is the Wombo combo: Ice Golem and Giant. Oh, never mind. It's a sandwich. It's the ice cream sandwich. You've got the Giant sauce, the biscuits on the side, and the ice cream in the middle.
What a fireball there, though. How many cards did that just hit? Like 4 or 5 different cards all caught up on a single fireball?
Man, this was a humongous push that Vizard put together, and Turtwig did chewed it up.
Smacked it away, pretty much. Yep. I like that Ice Golem, man. How cool is this card?
Oh,
keeping the pressure up for Vizard.
Giant Musketeer, I don't know. It was really good defense by Turtwig, but Vizard's still going.
Yeah, Vizard, that's the advantage of having those 2 elixir pumps, right? Is that he was able to put together a push, it gets repelled, and immediately put together another push because of all that stored elixir. But look at this, the game is pretty much even. Was that a mirrored? No, it wasn't a mirrored fireball. It survived a little bit. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look at this. The towers are very, very close to each other. I think that Vizard has a deck that is more likely to be able to push through consistent damage. But of course, if Turtwig gets one sexy X-bow set up, that's it.
Yeah. And really, the big winning moment in all of this is every single thing you see in terms of the troops fighting in the Inferno Towers and whatnot. That's all a trick. That's all smoke and mirrors from him. The big thing to watch out for is how many times Vizard is using poison on the tower.
Right.
Really, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I agree. The Giant can get a punch or 2 in there, but there's so much emphasis put on actually blocking the troops, especially with things like Inferno Tower. I agree. Like, we're going to be watching poisons and fireballs being traded for a while.
And you notice that's why Turtwig is playing the Inferno Tower so close to the river.
Yes.
Because he just knows that, okay, he's going to poison my tower. Let's make it so that he's not poisoning my Inferno Tower as well.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see how fast Turtwig can cycle.
This is looking pretty good.
He's going to play. There's a
I don't know.
There's
another 7 elixir behind that Giant, much less. Ooh, and there comes the poison. This is not looking very good.
Oh, God. The Ice Spirit needs to play another card for the Musketeer. One shot.
Even one shot. The one shot is like 2/3 of a poison, right? So like that's basically putting him a little bit more ahead.
Yep, that just sped up the process in 1 minute 40. That's not a lot of time.
Right.
1 minute 40 seconds is not a lot of time.
And it looks like...
The Ice Golem again! The Ice Golem saves the day.
And I think it pulls the Giant close enough that it's now just going to start targeting that. I think Turtwig made kind of, not a desperation play, but you know you're going to lose if you keep doing what you're doing, right? So you try to switch it up a little bit, but I think Vizard is going to push this game. It looks like
he played the Inferno Tower in range of the poison. Guards are actually getting destroyed by that poison, but 2 survive, and that might actually be all the difference. Another crossbow blade fed to as sacrifice to the deck. It was the moment. I think that Megamina got protected by the Ice Golem and got hit by the fireball.
Oh, it happened.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, we're seeing that little trick in action. I expect that to be patched pretty soon. I don't think that'll last exactly until the next game update, right?
Yeah. Well, Giant gets pushed back a little bit.
But I don't know. There's some decent push coming on here. What do you think Turtwig could have done differently here? We know that he's about to drop to the next poison that comes up. What do you think he could have done a little differently to set up?
Oh, man. It's really, really, really hard to tell. It's very difficult because no matter the range of the crossbow is such that there was no way for Turtwig to play the crossbow on the other side and ignore the push on the left side, but still get the tower. So I just think you have this one card that is a dead card in your hand, and it's your win condition, right? And that really hurts.
Yeah, absolutely.
That really, really hurts. And just thinking about it, I can't think of a scenario where I would have told Turtwig, like, you should have played crossbow there. You know?
Yeah, you're right. That's tough. Yeah. Well, while they're getting the next game set up, let's pull the bracket up because we're doing a last little bit of thing here. So let's just mark real quick who's moving on. Yeah, go ahead and jump into that game, and I'll be there in 1 second. I just want to mark real quick who's actually moving on in this. Marcel is moving on. C McHugh's moving on. Oh, yeah, we just got to jump into this game.
Yep.
ESL Yo, and I think Trainer Chris was the other one. Moving on.
Yes.
All right, sorry, we're live. Got to catch this. Boink. Okay.
All right.
So now we have Darth Jar Jar versus Turtwig Data. Vizard is up 1-0. Turtwig is not out yet, but Turtwig needs to defeat his clanmate, Darth Jar Jar, in order to stay alive here.
Oh my God, Turtwig Princess is actually just dunking Darth Jar Jar right now.
Wow.
That's like 1,000 damage Princess. That's an 1,000 damage Princess. And, we talk about how Princess has infinite damage.
Right.
But players focus so hard on eliminating the Princess that we rarely ever see it. But That was value.
Yeah.
2 times. Who was the other player who had? It was C McHugh.
It was C McHugh who defeated Bakalo by building up a bunch. Oh no! So the fireball is actually out of the hand now. But this is the spell cycle deck we were talking about. I think Turtwig has a really good matchup here over Darth Jar Jar. But remember how close it was last time? If Darth Jar Jar can take that really tight matchup and just barely tweak it a little bit in his favor, he can defeat Turtwig Data, knock Turtwig out of the tournament, and advance to the top 8.
Oh boy. All right, Darth Jar Jar. Let's see what you can do with 3 Musketeers, which I think are still very much in the meta.
Right.
Oh god.
Oops.
That sucks.
Oh no.
That sucks. Oh, okay, yeah, that Mega Man is going nowhere. 3, 4, 2.
Oh, okay. I don't really like that defensive minor, but I understand why Darth Jar Jar would do that, just because you can't afford to take even 100-something damage on your tower. Yeah, right. Like every little bit of damage, it's one shot. Ooh, Barbs come down. That's actually pretty decent because it's going to take care of that Mega Minion unless the Mega Minion flies out of town. Okay, no, it does get it. And that was 5 elixir to counter what was a 6 elixir on the board.
Yeah, but Turtwig Data, I think, has already won.
Uh-oh. Boo!
I
think
really,
Turtwig?
I really believe that he's already put Darth Jar Jar in a checkmate situation.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's already got lightning. We know that much.
When you're at this point, you can actually spend all your elixir defending. Do not poke the towers until overtime is actually in effect.
Right.
And then just spell down. And then just spell down the tower for the win. And I think we know he has rocket, right? That question mark is a rocket.
It's a lightning, actually. Oh, it's lightning this time. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah. We know it's a big spell.
Yeah.
He can lightning mirror for the win, or actually, I think he's a little short of fireball mirror, but yes. What did that not hit?
I don't.
Oh, maybe it was just the BM one or whatever, just to dodge it a little bit. But here we go. 2 seconds left. Turtwig Data is eliminated. Or wait, no, I'm sorry. Turtwig wins. I'm sorry. No, I'm done. Sorry. Turtwig wins.
What will really hurt us in the proverbial whatevers is if
Darth Jar Jar wins 1-0 over Vizard. Well, that's how we got here in the first place. They all won 1-0 over each other. I don't know what happens. We just play ad infinitum. We never end. We're locked into
So far, it's been 1-0 and 1-0, right?
Yeah. I got the record right here. Vizard 1-0 Turtwig 1-0 Darth Jar Jar. So it comes down to this last game. If Darth Jar Jar 2-0s Vizard or 2-1s Vizard or like anything like that, at least Darth Jar Jar can move on. Darth Jar Jar is now on the cusp of elimination.
Yeah. We're gonna go around in circles.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
How do we get off this ride, Rumham?
If Darth Jar Jar draws, if this game is a draw, that would also resolve it. Here we go.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, if this draws, that would resolve it.
A draw is a resolve. Anything but a 1-0 win for Darth Jar Jar resolves this game. So let's see. Vizard knows that went from a very comfortable position, actually, having won the game and thinking he's going to get ahead, to now in kind of a tough spot.
Yeah. Oh, God. That's actually a big connection for the Giant. Wow. There's not a lot of DPS on the board, and the Miner is taking down the Elixir Collector. I really think Vizard needs to think about a big counter push, and I think that Mega Minion was a mistake because he needed a big counter push.
Gotcha.
You need to play more big bodies in front of it to make sure your units can survive across a bridge long enough.
You're right, and they're so slow that it's kind of like...
connects with the Musketeer.
Yeah.
That's okay, and the Poison's actually slowing down the tower, so it's going to get a significant amount of damage.
Yeah.
And,
wow. Never mind. Just like that. Never mind. Just like that, Vizard's back in the game.
Poison's good.
Wow.
Poison is good. Gift that and put that on Reddit, and that's what I will see. We're like, okay, Poison is actually really good.
Absolutely.
Right? A lot of people talk about Poison's area denial, Poison's damage, the ticking damage, not allowed to play small troops, but really the slowing effect is one of the highlights of Poison.
I mean, I think that's the reason why Poison is such a good card. Like, if Poison didn't slow movement and attack speed, I think it's at least like balanced with Fireball, but considering how many extra shots you can get in on offense and defense with the slow effect of Poison, that's what I think makes the card so over the top. That's actually why I don't think Giant's really that broken.
Yes.
It's the Poison.
Really
oh, wow! Ice Spirit, and then put the Ice Golem between the Musketeer and the Miner. Oh, wow. Darth Jar Jar takes the tower. Vizard has his work cut out for him. You have a minute 15 to take that tower and seal your advancement into the top 8, but can he do it?
We're going around in circles. I don't know. Vizard needs to take the tower. Please take the tower.
Vizard can at least poison there and put it in. If it's a 2-1 victory, that also resolves. All Vizard has to do is cycle poison twice, and at least there's like something, right? Like
we'll have some Darth Jar Jar's last card? Is it really? Okay, yeah, it is a Three Musketeers. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Darth Jar Jar is going to be able to aggressive drop Three Musketeers and win the match. So there's a lot of.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I think there's Elixir Collector coming down, or Elixir. There's a lot of Elixir coming down on the right side for Vizard, but on the left side there was Elixir played by Darth Jar Jar that Vizard has to answer for. It's a race. There's actually not. I don't think there's enough DPS in. Actually, it's not overtime yet.
Yeah,
it's not overtime yet. It's gonna go for.
Oh no! They're going for it.
The cycle is gonna be broken.
I think Darth Jar Jar is gonna take the 3 crown right here.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
What the heck?
3-2 over Vizard. So DJJ 3-2. I think.
So now we do
have a resolve. No. It's resolved. It's because crowns are the second tiebreaker. Okay. So now all of them are 2-1, but instead of being 4-4-4, Darth Jar Jar advances number 1 in the group with 7 crowns.
Yes.
Well,
we have to figure out who between.
No, and head to head's actually the first tiebreaker. Crowns are the second tiebreaker. So DJJ advances.
Yes. We're free.
And I think Turtwig Data is unfortunately out.
Yeah, because Vizard already beat Turtwig Data.
Right, so Vizard has the head-to-head over Turtwig Data, and even though they're tied with 5 crowns each, there's a clear head-to-head winner between the two.
We are free. All right, let's show them that to make sure that the audience is caught up with where we are.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, this is quite. Yeah, so it's Vizard.
Going over what happened. First off, we had Vizard versus Turtwig Data. Right, the 3 people involved in this tiebreaker was Vizard, Turtwig Data, and Darth Jar Jar. All right, Vizard versus Turtwig Data was the first. Vizard won that match against Turtwig. Yes. Turtwig then played against Darth Jar Jar.
Correct.
And Darth Jar Jar won against Turtwig. So now Vizard and Turtwig are 1-1.
Correct.
Right? They've lost 1, they've won 1. So it came down to Darth Jar Jar having to play Vizard because we need to play 2 matches each. They have to play each other once at least. Right. So Darth Jar Jar played against Vizard and won. So Darth Jar Jar is 2-0 because he's won against Turtwig and won against Vizard.
No, he lost to Turtwig. No, the reason the tiebreaker here is crowns. That's why we played 1 more game each. Was the crowns. Whoever got more crowns over their games wins. After the games have been played, we played 1 match between each of them. While Vizard and Turtwig had 1-0 wins, the 3-2 here for Vizard means that Darth Jar Jar ends up with 7 crowns, Vizard ends up with 7 crowns, Turtwig Data ends up with 5 crowns, and is going to get eliminated on our second tiebreaker, which, big bummer for Turtwig Data. I mean, that is definitely the downside of playing sort of a spell cycle deck that tries to win 1-0, but these players have actually beaten each other so many times that we just got to go to a tiebreaker, and it's going to be crowns. Darth Jar Jar advances with 7 crowns, Vizard advances with 7 crowns, Turtwig Data... I mean, honestly, it's such a bummer to be left out like that. We had a similar situation in Season 1 where they had to get down to a tiebreaker. Congratulations, Turtwig Data. I'll make sure that you get a pat on the back and some consolation prize for you. That sucks to be eliminated like that, but that's why we played 3 separate matches to determine who's going to move out of that group. Yeah. That shows you just how hard these groups are to advance out of.
And even then, Vizard won the head-to-head with Turtwig. So Vizard already beat Turtwig.
Even if we said play again, Vizard even beat Turtwig head to head, even if it came down to something like that.
So
but
it was slated to be Darth Jar Jar Turtwig to move on.
Man, that's a heartbreaker, but that's what it takes to get out of groups. Let's take a look now at the bracket. We're gonna start the top 8 any second now. They're getting the matches all queued up, but let's get back to this. Oops, not this one. This one.
All right. Yeah.
Right. So who's moving on? So you're right. Maybe it shouldn't be an X.
It should be a circle.
It should be a circle.
It should be. It should be a circle.
Maybe just do a star.
All right. Yeah.
Doink. There you go. Look at that. Little star.
Dude. That's a huge star.
That's a big one.
It needs to be a different color.
It does need to be a different color. Good call. The white on white. They're getting the top 8 set up right now. We're gonna figure out. We'll have our admins figure out which matches are which. But
I like that first red that you did.
Oh, the bright red.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get out in here. Who is advancing out of each group? Patriots advances? No! Wow! The big upset. Marcus. Clyde and Marcus advance.
Yeah, so Patriots, 3-time winner in Super Magical Cup Invitationals, gets dunked in the championships, doesn't make it out.
Huge upset there. The 8 and 9 seed advance out of that group.
It's going to be Marcel P, CMC Hugh advancing in first place.
So keep track. If you have your brackets at home, how are they looking? Tell us in chat.
And then it's going to be Trainer Chris and ESL Yo. Trainer Chris being the first place advancing.
And then Vizard and Darth Jar Jar do advance.
So I'm already getting dunked because Patriots and Proco were my 2 finalists, I believe. And they didn't even make it out of groups. This is very reminiscent of Season 1 championship.
Absolutely.
Who's the 16th seed? Level 99? Okay.
Yeah. So
right,
it's Clyde. You're right. Clyde.
Clyde story is not.
And here we go. Actually, we can get back. And now that we have the stream bracket set up, we can go ahead and take this bad boy off. Add a quick capture here. All right. And this is our top 8 and the matches as they're going to shake out. Let's get a little chroma key here. Ooh. Nope.
Yep.
All right.
There we go.
And that is our top 8 bracket. Clyde versus Darth Jar Jar. C McHugh versus ESL Yo. Trainer Chris against Marcel P. Vizard against Marcus 35.
Oh, man. You know, I'm actually... The thing is, even with the results of the bracket being different than what I had put in my fantasy bracket, I'm actually not surprised that these are the players who made it out. Not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I would believe almost anyone. I think, who do you think is the biggest surprise in the top 8?
I think... Here's what I will tell you. I think Marcus 35 probably had the hardest argument to make.
Okay.
But I also think based on the ways that I've seen Marcus 35 play before, it's not a surprise, but it is something where, like, man, Marcus 35 is going to have a tough time if his performance was like the previous Super Magical Cups.
Right. I think the biggest surprise member is probably ESL Yo. He was actually not really predicted to advance out of his group, and he did in a group that had a lot of other big names. ESL Yo's won a lot of qualifiers, has top 4 at a couple Super Magical Cups, but not someone that we've seen be very dominant in the final elimination rounds. This might be his chance to show everyone his mettle, upset C McHugh, and move to the finals. Winning his first event. If you remember, Clyde was in a very similar situation, had top 8'd, but never actually, I don't think he even top 4'd once when he won the Super Magical Cup Season 1 championship.
Yeah. Man.
All right. So we are ready to start top 8 anytime.
So one thing that I'm thinking about now is Clyde has the opportunity to make another dream run.
Right.
He's still in the running to win the championship, and that would be the 2-time championship winner, in which case I would say that for some reason, maybe we just need to put these ultimatums on Clyde or something like that, where, like, if you lose this, we're selling your house. Or something.
Yeah, the pressure's got to be on. Yeah. No, we didn't actually talk about the pricing for this event, but we have more than double the pricing of a normal Super Magical Cup. There is $1,000 at stake today, $100 to the viewers for the person who gets the correct bracket, and $900 to the top 8 players. First place is going to get $500. Second place gets $200. Third and fourth get $50 each, and all top 8 competitors get to walk away with $25 each. Making it out of groups, you get something for sure.
Yes. Players have worked hard to get here, really.
Absolutely.
I mean, they've played a whole season.
I mean, I would argue getting out of one of these groups is harder than making the top 8 of an individual Super Magical Cup. You got to play 3 rounds of studs, right, to get there.
I would love to see the stats on who the hardest worker is, but my gut feeling is it's ESL Yo. Probably.
ESL Yo has definitely played in the most Super Magical events if you consider all the qualifiers that he won. In terms of most top 8s, Vizard. Vizard has 5, I think, this season out of 12. That means over 50% of the weeks that we had a Super Magical Cup, or almost 50% of the weeks, he was there. Top 8. Real good. And not to mention, 2 back-to-back second-place finishes.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's come down to these 8 names. And who will be the season 2? And really,
yeah, who do you think is going to go on in chat? Actually, we should put a vote. Let's make a vote up while we're waiting for the top 8 to get set up.
We still have the.
The stream bracket up there. Well, we'll give it a second. It's actually Moobot, isn't it?
Yep.
Moobot. Let's get this vote going. Vizard is also playing at 4 a.m. his time. We forgot about that.
Yeah, he always does that.
He's up in Malaysia representing the Far East, the Pacific Rim.
It's where exactly where I grew up. I grew up in Singapore, but the Southeast Asian region.
That's true.
Is where I'm.
New poll.
My hometown.
All right. Clyde was 1. Vizard NS. Enter their names as they appear here, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess Marcus. Man, it's going to be hard to do ESL Yo.
Yeah.
Darth Jar Jar. ESL Yo. I guess we'll have it like that.
Yeah.
ESL Yo. They'll all be dashes. Marcus 35.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. We're about to get started anytime. The games are about to go. What's the last 2? Yeah, we're going to get Marcel P and Trainer Chris. All right. So there we go. The poll is open. Go ahead and do -vote or !vote. !vote, space, write who you think's going to win.
We're in.
Oh, man. Actually, we didn't have time for it. I forgot to put C McHugh on there.
Oh, my God.
Probably the
I
most.
actually think he's one of the favorites to win right
He's
now.
probably, yeah, he is. I only realized I put 7 up and I was like, who's the last one?
It's really hard to communicate this in the fantasy brackets, but if C McHugh made it out of groups in first place, I was going to choose him to be the winner because I think he's one of those. He hasn't had as good success in Super Magical Cup events as he does elsewhere, but I think if he plays really well in this format, just as Clyde plays really well in this format, I think he can be really, really successful. So
Absolutely.
All right, game started. Lots of nothing happened. 3 Musketeers gets taken down by Poison. And Clyde is actually playing a 3 Musketeer deck as his alternate deck. This is an interesting thing to know.
Yeah, so we saw, what was his first deck that we saw? It was, it wasn't Lava Hound, was it? Or was it? No, I think it was. I think he's running Lava Hound as his other deck.
I believe so.
I have to keep track of it. We can start writing them down now.
Oh, both the Musketeer and the Ice Golem missed the Miner.
We know Vizard is running Giant Poison.
Oh, there's the ID.
Ooh, Inferno Dragon we haven't seen that much of. Interesting is I think Ice Golem actually kind of hurts the Ice Dragon there, right? It's something that just take a while to build up onto.
And the Poison is so slow. Kill the Giant. Oh my God, the Giant's already done 1,200 damage to the tower, 1,300, and the Poison does 1,400.
And the low health Inferno Dragon is not going to make much of a counter push here.
Oh man.
Oh wait, bracket is wrong or match is wrong. Why is it Clyde Vizard? Oh wait, maybe we got to refresh. Hold on. That might have been the delay. Was getting the bracket lined up right. Haha, there it is.
There
it
is. There it is. We're not wrong. We just changed it so that we're right.
Yeah.
What we say go. 2 Musketeers on the left side. This is 3 Musketeers working as intended. Defend the right side, the left side gets hurt. Defend the left side, the right side gets hurt.
Right.
It's one of the only decks, I feel like, where the split damage is actually something that you're expecting. And
with 3 Musketeers?
Yes.
Yeah, actually that's one of the advantages of the deck because if they can deal, what happens early on is you sort of ignore one side and just sort of take some chip damage. You don't mind splitting it up. But what happens when you get into that overtime, suddenly you have 2 towers that both have like under 2,000 health, and any of these pushes can kind of run away and knock them down real fast.
Yeah. All right.
Ooh,
the poison actually misses the...
But that was 6 elixir.
And this time the dragon actually tagged onto the giant first, so he's going to take a lot less damage.
Oh,
and that giant didn't even get a swing. So
great zap there. So now there's actually a pretty decent counter push coming, given that that Vizard has already used his poison and zap and cycled back to it that quickly.
Yep.
Kind of wow. That's one of the strengths of having Ice Golem in your deck. It's another 2-cost card that helps you cycle, while also contributing pretty well to the pushes.
It's a different function than the other 2-cost, 1-cost cards as well. It's a tank, which you don't. So any situation where you wanted to play a tank but didn't have a cheap card to do it, now you do.
Was that an accidental, or did he mean to put all 3 in the same lane, or was that like a purposeful thing just to stop the push?
He might have been worried that he would not have enough damage to take down the giant,
Right.
but it's gonna hurt.
That's right. Like, even that little 40 damage, it seems bad. And there we go. Clyde drops game 1 to Vizard.
What a curious deck from Clyde. I feel like we've seen this so many times in the Super Magical Cup, and not even. It's amazing that he's been able to do it in the championships, but it's super interesting that we've seen Clyde occasionally make it out into the top 8 and get into the bracket stage, and we always see his alternate deck is something where I just want to like break a table because it looks so bad. It looks so bad, but he makes it work.
He does.
But every time he gets into the top 8, a situation like this happens where it's like, okay, that deck, it had to be successful to some point, but it's losing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Vizard doesn't have the experience of playing against it because they weren't in the same group, right? So like this is like, it's fresh to Vizard, but he's figuring out a way to kind of manage his way around it.
Yeah. I just want to see Clyde be successful with that Inferno Dragon 3 Musketeer deck because I think that's awesome.
This is actually cool. We have the 2 most recent cards in the same matchup. I mean, another thing to keep in track, guys, is that if this is your first time watching Super Magical Cup or something like that, players have to register 2 decks that are 4 cards different. And then once they've registered 2 decks, you have to win a best of 3 matchup, winning with both decks. So Vizard won with his Giant Poison deck. The Giant Poison deck is out. He cannot play it the rest of the match. He's got to win one of the remaining 2 games with this minor, I'm not really sure what it is. Minor Poison looks like. Minor Poison Inferno, right? Clyde did stay on his deck, did have the option to switch, but if he wins this match, in game 3, he'll have to play his second deck.
Gonna take down 3 and 3. 7, 8. Oh, 1 elixir advantage for Vizard.
And Vizard, 1 elixir advantage and did the most important thing, which was not taking any damage, right? He's wanting to grind people down with this kind of minor poison setup.
You got dug.
Clyde's gonna let it happen.
Sorry.
So here's what Clyde is doing. He's letting it happen because, see, the minor will go.
He has mirror. What? How did we not notice? Is this his alternate deck? Wait. Is it the same deck?
It might be a second deck. It might be a different one. Yeah.
He has mirror.
So look at
you
that.
made it down the grips with a mirror Inferno and an Inferno Dragon deck.
It might not be Inferno Dragon.
Yeah.
But he baited the opponent basically into activating the King Tower, which is going to be really bad for all these minor decks. Think about how Clyde just bluffed the crap out of Vizard. Now every minor that comes in has to deal with 2 towers shooting at it. Those collectors might be a lot safer for the rest of the game.
Man, that was value for those Fire Spirits. Took down the Princess and made the Mega Minion do no damage.
Clyde was holding his cards and was just like, call your bluff.
Oh my god. Are you going to mirror 3 Musketeers?
Could he?
No.
No, he's already got the knight down. Yeah.
But I could imagine the world.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe that's the idea. You mirror the collectors in order to mirror the 3 Musketeers.
Yes. Oh god. He's got lightning! He's got mirror lightning! He can spell cycle if he wants.
You're right. Maybe it's like an alternative. Like the 3 Musketeers is really there more as like a defense against decks that just don't have a great answer.
This deck is getting more and more technical. I mean, now that we see the full 8-card lineup, this deck is an incredibly technical deck. You need to be a very, very advanced player to make this work. But I think it can work.
I think Clyde's super brave in a world where Lightning is far more popular today than it was a month ago to run 2 different 3 Musketeer decks.
Perfect Lightning.
Nice Lightning as well.
Oh my gosh. And he has a mirror. He played a second Ice Spirit. He mirrored the
Ice Spirit. Coming in. 1, 2. He has to use the log.
And you have to remember that the reason why Clyde might be greedy for any kind of damage is he has Lightning Mirror Lightning. So if he gets it into that range, he's actually in a very good spot. He's going to mirror the Mega Minion.
He wanted the Mega Minion to probably go backwards if he could help it.
The Knight actually pushed the Miner off.
Very good placement.
Saves some damage on his tower. Mega Minion gets 1 swing, that's fine.
It's crazy to me that Clyde, who does not seem like he has the Spell Cycle Siege deck, is out Spell Cycle Sieging his opponent. His opponent's kind of forced to do that. I wish that he would start splitting the 2 Musketeers the other way, though, because he's giving up those easy poisons.
Oh, that Princess just had the money shot.
Right. God, just Lightning. He's taking 3 elixir to deal that damage to the tower, but it's keeping him ahead.
Yeah. 869, 1254. Clyde needs to keep his composure, keep his focus, and keep on going. Vizard, meanwhile, needs to figure out how to get ahead.
Am I crazy that he shouldn't be putting two Musketeers on that side? Because he's drawing... I mean, it's good that he drew the poison away from the tower in that time, but it just seems like you'd be better off putting the 2 Musketeers on the other side, but guess what do I know, right? Like,
yeah. I just think that Clyde wants to make sure that poison absolutely does not go on the right side.
Yeah, the last 2 though have hit that side. That's what's wild to me. Is that
rather just the bridge on the right side. He wants to play aggressive. I think Clyde is really trying to push that tower health down to lightning range.
I see. And it is within lightning and a mirror. Mirror lightning.
Did you not have mirror in hand?
He does. No, he does. There.
Okay.
Takes a second to cast. Yeah. Woohoo! So Clyde, what a deck! What a weird deck. So it's 3 Musketeers, Lightning, Mirror, Collector. The key moments in that game were Clyde, add a set. Oh, what's this? Should be 1. Oh, it is 1-1 now. Okay. Oh, I see. Oh, our admin's taking care of the scores. Thank you, admin. So yeah,
we're live spectating, so we can do it now.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, that is nuts. So what really happened there, I think the key interaction early on was Clyde letting the Miner tag on to his King Tower in order to activate the King Tower. That really undermined all future Miner plays simply because, like, you have 2 towers shooting them, and then even something as simple as Ice Spirit can counter the miners from then on.
Clyde brings it back 1-1, but now Clyde has to go back to his Inferno Dragon deck. Absolutely. The one that I have much less faith in. I have much less faith in this deck.
Ooh.
On the verge of
the Inferno Dragon. But remember, Vizard is playing Minor Inferno and doesn't have
the Giant.
Doesn't have the Giant or even like really the Bowler or Ice Golem to deal with. I think what could work here for Clyde is that the Inferno Dragon is a zap target. God. If the zaps are going on to his 3 Musketeers, then what's going to zap the Inferno Dragon?
Yes. All right, Inferno Tower was actually good defense play there. There was a flurry of units, minions and fire spirits, and they actually did a pretty good job on gumming up the Inferno Tower, but there just wasn't enough health on Clyde's side of the board to make any meaningful kind of push happen.
Absolutely. Woo! We have the Season 1 Super Magical Cup champion against the most prolific top 8er of Season 2. This is a high-stakes matchup here.
Inferno Dragon versus Princess.
That's actually a pretty good counter, right? Like, yeah. Even though it takes... The Inferno Dragon doesn't do that much damage at the start, it kind of doesn't matter because of how low the health Princess has.
Yeah.
Wow.
It did 200 damage.
Ooh, and that will reach that far-range Musketeer there.
Yep. Splits them up. Where are you going to poison log?
There's the log. Opts to save the poison.
Yeah, and I think that's a good choice. If you can get away with it, your tower has a lot of health right now.
Ooh.
Make something big happen with your poison. But that right side Musketeer got a lot.
That was a really smart play with the Fire Spirits right behind. He ended up blocking 2 Fire Spirits, jumped on the Ice Spirit, and ended up wiping it out, so allowing the Musketeer to lock onto the tower and get some shots off. And neither player have Zap. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Both players have decided to rely on Ice Spirit as sort of the better Zap, I guess. That's, hey, braver than me.
Yeah.
The person I think who, actually, well, Vizard isn't really hurt by it because he still has Log, so he can poison Log and still get that 6 elixir kind of counter, which I think works for him.
All right, here comes the Ice Spirit, jumps on the Mega Minion, that's gonna give...
Oh! Night! He's gonna no! The Princess lives! You know, Princess is one of those cards that is worth spending extra elixir to defend. It does infinite damage. What are you gonna do, right? And look at that. Just like that, the Princess has already killed those 2 Musketeers.
Yep.
They're gonna. Okay, they do kill the Princess, but
yeah,
I think
the 3 Musketeers got the poison on the tower.
That saved 2 elixir that you didn't have to spend on logging.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was really valuable for Vizard to hit that poison right there.
Man, this is so close. Neither player is actually putting together what we would consider like traditional high damage big pushes. They're both just kind of like minor cycling each other, really trying to get that good moment, that good setup. Oh no, the poison just went down. Oh no, the Log and Princess is gonna do some bad work. Oh wow. Oh, and poison's back that soon.
Man, poison Log is actually fantastic against kind of ground-based pushes. The big advantage now that Zap has over Log really only lies in the fact
Clyde's Fire Spirits just got logged. Do you see him?
Oh no! The poison is ticking away, but there's 1,300 health. Can't defend the miner.
Wow!
Clyde is out of there.
Game
moves on.
3. Oh, Clyde, the Season 1 champion. We will not have a repeat championship winner. Clyde is eliminated in the top 8, walks away with $25 for his effort. Vizard, always the bridesmaid, never the bride, all the way from Malaysia, moves into the top 4, his 6th top 4 of the season, and he is still in the running to be the Season 2 Super Magical Cup champion.
Man, Vizard, it's interesting too because I think Vizard has brought in 2 very solid decks, right? He's got the Giant Poison Ice Golem variant, and he's also got Minor Inferno, and I would say those are the 2 big boy decks of the season, right? The ones that have come out and survived to be the most effective in the current meta. Kind of like if you're not kidding around and you want a deck that's reliable and solid, these are the 2 decks that you should pick. Minor Inferno, Giant Poison, but he has that Ice Golem variant, and it's interesting that Vizard has given up his Hog Rider. Because that was something that Vizard really liked to play before. We can't really show it. Clyde actually had the largest amount of votes of people coming in on the vote thing. Now, of course, we forgot C McHugh, so that's my fault. But the people's champion. But Clyde was. People probably voted. That was probably. I would say that's probably C McHugh right there. But you're right. Marcel P had the 2nd most votes. But yeah, woo, Clyde, the people's favorite, the people's champion, bumped out the very first game of the top 8. Man, whoa. And now we have. Go ahead, grab it, and I'll put C McHugh here on the bottom. I'm excited to see C McHugh play because I think he's brought some very, very good decks. And I think he's...
I mean, C McHugh is not just a good Super Magical Cup player, but he did well. Actually, his picture's from the Northern Arena Toronto event. He's also played, I think, a lot of the Clash Royale leagues, that sort of stuff. He's really all over in all the tournaments, and he's so consistent in all of them that he might be moving into the new favorites. But let's not speak too soon because, of course, ESL Yo knocked out Woody in a critical game 3. When the pressure's on, ESL Yo does not shrink away.
Yes. Good poison from C McHugh. Takes down Fire Spirits, hits the Furnace, takes down the guard, and gets a tower.
About even here. Neither player have a collector out. Both have about a similar amount of damage on their tower. C McHugh has a slight elixir advantage. We'll see if he can leverage that into some more effort. Ooh, look at that. Look at exactly a 4-card cycle. Collector, 1, 2, 3, 4, collector.
Yeah,
right?
Perfect.
And that cycle was only 11 elixir, too. So a pretty low-cost cycle to get back to his pump.
Yes. Here comes a big push from C McHugh. And this is an interesting thing. So another difference between Mega Minion and regular minions is, okay, we'll talk about that later. But here comes a big counter push. Mega Minion onto the Furnace. But the Fire Spirits for the Furnace actually do a really, really good job holding up that push. And really, the Furnace is only 4 elixirs. So that was pretty worth it.
And it took out the Ice Spirit. If the Ice Spirit could have landed on the Furnace before it spawned, that would have given a little bit more damage and time. But either way, the Furnace does get off the board. C McHugh's biggest fear with this sort of cycle grindy defense deck is ESL Yo getting out 2 Furnaces at the same time, because that's going to force C McHugh to spend a lot of elixir on defense that he doesn't really want to spend, right? He wants to spend his excess elixir on minor poisons on the enemy tower.
Yep. Here comes a big push from ESL Yo, playing the miner in the back. Actually going to draw it away from the mini P.E.K.K.A, but the Inferno Tower comes down, and that's going to ease up the situation. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about minor Mega Minion as opposed to minor Minion, is if your timing is a little bit wrong, the minion will actually die and retarget the tower onto the miner, whereas Mega Minion will actually take down the full health, and that's a big push. Guard's doing a lot of damage, poison ticking away at the tower, and C McHugh strikes back with a huge minor poison attack.
I think this is where the elixir collecting is going to start to take away. The big difference between a minor Furnace deck and a elixir collector sort of minor Inferno deck is that of course the elixir collector deck has the ability to start building up these big advantages and leverage them in double elixir time, and that's what we're seeing right now. There's only, I think, 1 more poison needed for C McHugh to win the game, so the pressure's really on ESL Yo to push down this tower and do some damage. But how when he's behind by several elixir?
Yeah, he's behind, and really because it's going to head into overtime, C McHugh has the opportunity to just throw a Hail Mary and just try to push the tower down.
Right, and that's it. 11 seconds to go. He really, you're right. It needs to be super Hail Mary. I think those guards and the Mega Minion alone are enough to stop it. I don't see what an ESL Yo's deck can do it. The big advantage there was that C McHugh just never let ESL Yo get a Furnace down for any amount of time. C McHugh wins the first game of the set. So now his minor Inferno deck is out.
Yes.
Off. So he's got to play a different deck. ESL Yo has the option. Let's take a look at those 2 decks again, just for the sake of it. This is the 2 decks they just played. C McHugh's deck is out. ESL Yo may choose to play his minor Furnace deck next, or he could switch to his other deck.
Yeah, I think that was, textbook play from CMCHugh. I think he just really took the small advantages and pushed it forward, made a lot of impact happen with his guards, his poison, the timing on when he throws down his minor. But I think, when you play minor Mega Minion as opposed to minor Minion, there's a very, very big difference where if you get the timing wrong and the tower attacks onto your Mega Minion...
Oh, ESL Yo did not win SMC number 4. Oopsies, that was a graphic error, my bad. ESL Yo won more qualifiers than anyone, though. That was, ESL Yo is top 4'd, I think, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And he won more qualifiers than anyone. He actually won, I think, multiple qualifiers a week. So, good call. These sometimes we make graphics late.
I believe this CMCHugh deck is Hog Rider Lightning.
You're right. This is the one where he's got both Skeletons and Ice Spirit in the deck, and he's gonna try to build up a big elixir advantage, and then probably Hog Lightning his way to a victory. You're right.
All right, some dead time here. As we see these 2 decks play out, ESL Yo has chosen to stay on Furnace.
Right.
And, there's a reason why Furnace became minor Furnace as an archetype became less popular.
It was actually giant. The rise of Giant Poison. Minor Furnace was really popular at the end of Season 1 and beginning of Season 2 because the most popular decks at that time were things like Royal Giant and Hog Cycle. And both of the Minor Furnace is amazing against both of those decks. It keeps the pressure on them. It never really gives them an opportunity to build up to 10 and do their kind of pushes. But as soon as Giant Poison started to take over the meta game, Giant is just like a hard counter to Furnace. Just put it in front of the Furnace lane and you're never worried again. So I'd be interested to see if ESL Yo, being one of the last remaining stalwart holdouts of this deck type, can push into the top 4. C McHugh actually, I think, was the only person to 3-0 his group.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
True.
No, Clyde also, I think, 3-0'd his group, unfortunately, for him to get bumped out. But C McHugh and Clyde are the 2 people to 3-0 their group, so C McHugh has actually yet to lose a match today.
All right, here comes the Hog Rider on the left side. Mini P.E.K.K.A will take the Hog Rider down to only 1 swing.
And that's really why Mini P.E.K.K.A is such a popular counter to Hog Riders. You only let them get 1 swing, you spend the same amount of elixir, and you have a full health Mini P.E.K.K.A coming back here.
Try to assist it with the miner, but the Mini P.E.K.K.A will be getting
even including the miner, ESL Yo spent way more elixir on that whole thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh, that Princess took down the 2 fire spells. That's big.
What a
for the
lightning!
Hog Rider.
Wow, that's a really good lightning. And even only gets 2 swings plus the lightning is a significant amount of damage. Just like that, C McHugh has a 700 health lead on the left tower.
Yeah, Hog Rider has become a lot more about single, double swings rather than just really using something like a freeze and getting the Hog Rider 5, 6 swings.
That's really bad, actually. The miner or the princess locking on to the miner instead of the actual Mini P.E.K.K.A. Oh, the Hog Rider's to come down for defense. It eats a shot. This is all it's just health points, really, at that point. Oh, wow, the poison's coming down. He has to play the Inferno Tower.
That's an expensive defense for C McHugh.
The Inferno Tower did work, but at what cost? You know, the Mega Minion's still around. Good job with the skeletons there, kind of pulling it off, but a little bit more damage coming through.
Actually, he's going to make a pretty big connection with this.
Oh, lightning!
And the lightning.
Oh, my God, the Hog
the lightning has basically a zap, and I think that was a perfect situation.
Yeah.
Because if ESL Yo had tried to drop any card to defend against it, it would have been lightning. So the timing of that lightning was in order to guarantee a win.
Yeah, I definitely get what you're... Yeah, definitely. I think the big thing there was that ESL Yo was continuing to push and push and push, and I think missed the Hog Rider being played at the river and slipping by his defense. He was already... ESL Yo had kind of redlined, gone down to 0 elixir in order to defend against it.
Yes.
Or to push this lethal attack through, and the Hog Rider just zoomed right on by.
What a complex defense as well. That was the same push that C McHugh defended with the Hog Rider into the Inferno Tower, into the Mega Minion, into another Hog Rider, and that second Hog Rider was the one that jumped across and finally closed out the match. That's the kind of thing that, like, I would never think about in a million years, right? I know how to use Hog Rider on defense, but I would never convert that into a counterattack, and I think most players is why C McHugh is incredibly competitive.
Agreed. And the next match is going to be Trainer Chris and Marcel P.
So C McHugh.
And what do these 2 decks had? Yeah, so C McHugh, who, let's see. I'm going to write these things down. McHugh had, he had a Minor Inferno deck, right?
Yes.
And then he had the Hog Lightning.
Yes, Minor Inferno, Hog Lightning.
Whew. And Trainer Chris, I'm trying to remember what the Trainer Chris decks were. Trainer Chris, a 5,000 trophy player. Woohoo, quite the ladder player. Look at that, that's his trophy best, 5,000 trophies.
Oh my God.
Marcel P, though, a Rocket Cycle player who is no slouch himself.
He's 300 away.
Only 300 away. Let's see. Marcel P, we know, has a Rocket Cycle deck. Oh, maybe Trainer Chris and Marcel P. Actually, it's not going to be that. Marcel P and Trainer Chris need a break for one reason or another. Oh, no, yeah. There it is. We got it. Never mind. We do have them.
Ooh.
Hooray.
We're in the Bone Pit. Is that right?
This is Bone Pit.
Yeah.
One of my favorite arenas. It's just unique. It's different. What's going on? Oh, Marcel opts for the poison early on here. Definitely is a good idea to keep your opponent from ever getting multiple collectors out. When they actually get 2 to 3 collectors out, it's really hard to win those games.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Ice Wizard should counter the Mega Minion pretty effectively. Trainer Chris opts to spend 7 elixir to go in and just put some damage on the tower. Not much damage really gets done, though.
Yeah. It's just the poison's worth.
Yeah.
And now I think the units coming across are low health enough that they're not going to be an incredible threat.
Right.
What are you going to do about that?
I think he was trying to get another collector out. That's exactly what he was trying to do. He was just trying to cycle that 1 elixir back to a collector. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Okay, so if I'm Trainer Chris, is this smart to spend 7 elixir right after getting poison and try to go in for a push? Is that what you should be doing?
Yeah, I don't think so. Because now the defense was better for Marcel P's side. The units are healthier.
Yeah, I don't think this is how you want to play the matchup. Like, I mean, he's going to poison it. I think you just kind of let that happen, or you put it, you know, maybe in a different place the next time. He's already poisoned that side twice, so maybe you throw it.
Yes.
Throw it behind your left tower. But I just don't think being aggressive right afterwards is the way you want to play this match. But you know.
Okay.
Oh, I see, because he knows he's a rocket deck, so he doesn't want to give him an easy rocket. But already, Marcel P is way ahead, and I think this is a good time to maybe go in, right after a rocket, because you know they have 2 less elixir. And as you can see, it's turning out a lot better, even if much damage doesn't hit that tower.
Yeah. And that's going to help him catch up a little bit. Marcel P really needs to be concerned about preserving his tower health. Because, as you mentioned, if a spell cycle goes down 1 tower and it becomes a 1-1 situation, it's actually really hard for the spell cycle to come back.
One advantage here is now that activating the King Tower is not a bad thing at all.
That hurts for Trainer Chris.
Absolutely. For Marcel P, he actually doesn't care about your King Tower because he's never really attacking you. He's just casting Rocket. So think about this. Like, he just took 7 pumps, maybe more, off of those 2 collectors with a single poison and really didn't get punished for it in terms of the King Tower.
Yeah, and he defends fairly well. Fairly well.
But they are tied up. It's easy to kind of poke fun at some of these flimsy pushes that Trainer Chris is putting together, but the towers are about even.
Yes.
And with 30 seconds to go until overtime.
Yes. The big problem is once it hits overtime, all of a sudden the situation flips on its head, and now Trainer Chris is very, very far behind because Marcel P can win the game at any moment.
Right. Actually, Marcel P can win the game with 1 rocket, I think, at this point.
Yes.
He's already at that point. So it's really going to be on Trainer Chris to be very aggressive. You can see him being aggressive, casting spells, poison, logs, trying to do everything he can get in there. I don't think he can get back to poison in time, and he definitely can't cast it in time and get the full 10 seconds out. I think Marcel P is going to take this game right here.
Here comes a rocket, and there goes the tower. 349 health. There's the smiter. 1 second.
Oh, wow. I think he probably needed 1 more push.
Very close race.
1 more poison would have done it, but that's exactly, I mean, there's only 3 minutes in the game. Marcel P timed it exactly right to make sure that his rocket was getting through. And the downside, though, for Marcel is that, again, got to bring 2 decks. His best deck, the Rocket Cycle, the thing that he's known for, 1-0, but can't play it. He's got to win 1 of the next 2 games with his other deck, which I do not recall what it is. I think we watched Rocket Cycle earlier.
Yeah, we did. We did watch his Rocket Cycle deck earlier, but they're jumping right into the next game, and Marcel P played that very well, but that, in many ways, I think is his comfort deck. Yes,
that is definitely the deck that he's most likely to win with, for sure. Now, how many we have? Let's see. Vizard from Crucible Wrath. McHugh from Takeover. We'll have to see which guilds are represented in the top 4.
Ooh, the Ice Spirit retargeted the miner onto the Ice Golem. It's running away!
I like me some Ice Golem. Yeah. That card's really shown off. Vizard is actually already in the top 4 with an Ice Golem. Can Marcel P make it there? And we'll have 2 Ice Golems in the top 4.
It's a great card. Whenever there's a cheap card that's introduced, 2 cost, 1 cost, it's very hard for it not to be good.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, exactly. Like, because the nature of the game with defensive towers always firing is that you can pretty much always use any 1 or 2 cost card on defense and get some value for it. It's really hard just because the tower's shooting with you. Just to not kill a 2 or 3 cost card with it, right?
Think about the baseline being Skeleton, right? Skeleton can already gain value. Can you imagine a card that's worse than Skeletons? It basically comes down to less Skeletons, right?
Right, exactly. Like, yeah, or Ice Spirit. Like, even if Ice Spirit was zappable, which it's not, it's whatever. You're spending 2 elixir to kill a 1 elixir card, right? Yeah, I agree.
So that's kind of I think the dichotomy of 1 elixir, 2 elixir cards. There could be an argument, and don't kill me for this, there could be an argument for not having any 1 elixir or 2 elixir cards at all.
Yeah, I actually think that if there's any problem with the game, it's actually more that towers are so powerful. Like, the defender's advantage in this game is so much stronger than in most games that it allows so many people to play decks like this, right? Inferno Tower, Mine. Like, you have a whole deck that only wins via playing Miner and Poison simply because of the ability to play so grindy and defensive because of how good towers are.
Yes, and we're seeing that play out right now. Both decks are.
And really, Elixir Collector's kind of part of that too, to be fair. Like, the ability to defend and build up big Elixir advantages helps there. I'd love to see, like, Poison, Ice Spirit, and Elixir Collector maybe take some little changes, but Marcel P, healthily in the lead right now. Both of his towers over 2,000 health. One just went under, right? But he has only 1,300 damage left to do. Oh no, Marcel! That was a wasted arrows at a very bad time. They were both tied at about the same amount of elixir, and then just like that, Marcel P finds him 3 elixir behind.
Yep, and this is a big minor poison push coming in. The guards are going to get a poke at it, and it evened the game up. Whew. 1.2k versus 1.3k. Minor poison coming across now.
Oh, and those guards are placing a bad guess, unfortunately, for Trainer Chris, because that was way more damage, and those guards got eaten up by the poison. Ice Golem does not. Ooh, Oh my god, the miner hit the Ice Spirit and then the Poison Tick took it out to allow the miner to get a little bit more damage in there.
Yeah,
very good.
This is actually starting to get really close. Is the arrows on top? I mean, Trader Chris has a log. It's really coming down to a slugfest. They're basically trading miner poisons right now.
Look at the Ice Golem taking the miner away.
Oh no!
Ice Golem is legit. That card is no joke.
Marcel P has more health on his tower, and Marcel P has the opportunity to push miners off his tower with the Ice Golem.
And one more poison will win the game for Marcel P. If only he can stop. Oh, the Ice Golem's pushing it away again. No! That's really important. The miner swings once. Does the miner swing twice? He does. Marcel P 2-0. Bumping Trainer Chris out. Those were two very grindy Siege matches. And Marcel P, just a known Rocket Cycle player, a known, really, really good Siege player, is able to bump Trainer Chris out in 2 games, very close by. Both of those, I think the difference in damage there across those 2 games was like sub 500.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the Marcel P wins, and in both games, Trainer Chris was only 230 damage from taking the other tower.
Leads you to wonder why I think the better option would be for Trainer Chris to play the miner behind the tower, because even if it gets pushed, it'll still be on the tower.
Yeah.
Right? Or on the side, or play some kind of mind game with it. I think the fact that Trainer Chris tried to front approach so many times really hurt him in the end.
Right.
Wow. Marcel P moves on. So we've got in the top 4, we've got Vizard, C McHugh, Marcel P, and now we're trying to figure out whether it's going to be Darth Jar Jar or Marcus 35. And their match has gone underway.
Oh, cool. We just got to get started.
Yeah.
So I'll update.
Like the game's moving.
Good job, admins. Hey, by the way, this is a good time just to introduce the band. Shout out Lucas, Will, Mark, Kyle, all the members of the Super Magical Cup team who aren't on camera, but are crucial to making this production work. You guys are the best.
All right. Nice defense on the Elixir Collector with the Knight, and we were talking about how the Knight is just a great defensive card. 3 costs,
And just like that, he was able to the Knight did his job, which is held off an equal cost miner, defend that Elixir Collector, and start marching.
Just to show you how effective, defensively, the Knight does little damage, and it's still a really good defensive card. The Ice Golem does no damage, and it's still a great defensive card. It just goes to show how good that defender's advantage is.
Right.
Ooh,
good Ice Spirit, yeah, with the guards. So both of them actually are really adept at defending their collectors in a deck where both players are playing miner.
No love for the mods. Yeah. We actually have a ton of people who are super helpful on volunteer basis.
Yeah, actually, Alpha Wolves. Actually, also big shout out. Darth Jar Jar's playing right now, but Darth Jar Jar, Apex Predator, USC, a bunch of great players and commentators have been helping write our weekly Reddit write-ups as well. So shout out to them. They're just as crucial as anyone.
And a lot of people, it's really a community making the Super Magical Cup happen. And really the competitive space of Clash Royale in many ways.
Absolutely. So miner pops up on that Elixir Collector. No defense. The guards are at the river. I think Darth Jar Jar knew that too. He knew that Marcus wants to play guards to block against the thing. Oh, that's going to be real tough.
Nice.
But Marcus is going to want to play guards against the miners, but he's also going to want to play the guards against the double Musketeers. So by doing the miner and the double Musketeers at the same time, it really put Marcus into a tough situation. Which way do I go here?
Yeah. Princess is what remains out of all the chaos, and Darth Jar Jar has been putting some pretty good consistent damage on that right side tower. And is it going to go uncontested for very much longer? That's actually kind of crazy.
Whoa! I actually thought, I was with you. I thought that the Ice Spirit and the Princess were going to kill those guards, and Princess would live to fight another day.
Oh, man.
Let's see how this goes. Oh, I'm surprised he's not playing him on the Collector, but then again, that is where the defense is going, so it's probably smart.
Right, I expect to see Log, Yep,
Log Poison takes those out. They don't get a single shot on the tower, but the miner does do a pretty decent amount.
Darth Jar Jar is getting a little bit ahead of the Collector game. They're at 2 each, but Darth Jar Jar still has half on the left side.
And you can attribute that to the fact that he has 2 1-cost cards. He's got both Skeletons and Ice Spirit, putting him just a little bit of Elixir ahead. Those 2 Musketeers, even though they're going, the Log, they dodge the 1.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, I think actually that might have been the crucial moment, the turning point for Darth Jar Jar. He's getting way ahead in damage now. There is no answer for that miner. It's swinging.
To town. The shovel is doing so much damage.
What could possibly stop that? He only needs 1 more poison to win the game, and another miner comes up because it was so long.
You see that? How often do you see 2 miners on one tower? Darth Jar Jar actually cycled a second miner. You cycled 2 miners. The poison on top was slowing down the attack speed of the tower, and the tower was actually shooting the Knight rather than the miner, and so the miner was at really, really high health, and it survived an incredibly long time.
Yeah, oh my god. Woo, double shovel. Hey, it's not magic, it's a shovel.
Oh my goodness. Can't you beat me?
They call him Darth Jar Jar, but I might call him Double Mine. There's a joke in there. We're digging deep.
Nice picture, Darth Jar Jar.
That's him. That's exactly what he looks like.
Yep. Gosh,
got yellow teeth.
Brushes his teeth. Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, Marcus 35. This is game 1, so Darth Jar Jar cannot play the last deck that he was playing, right? That Three Musketeer minor cycle deck out of the running.
Marcus swapped his decks up to the Hog Rider deck.
You're right. Very good point. Darth Shovel. There it is. Darth Shovel.
Nice.
Sal, thank you.
Well done.
Ooh, Inferno Tower comes down for Marcus. So I wonder if Marcus is also playing that similar Hog Lightning deck that we saw out of C McHugh.
Oh, that was almost a Jason push, but Barbarians could squeeze through.
Right. Unfortunately, oh man, that giant just got ground to bits, and that mini Mega Minion is just thrilled to feast on Barbarians for as long as he can.
Miner did a decent amount though.
Yeah, I mean that was pretty much the thing that Marcus had to give up on defending was that Miner, and he did get about the full 450 or so damage.
Yep. Oh, you lose.
Ooh, and now Darth Jar Jar has to spend a little bit of elixir to deal with it, and even though it's just a zap, it is a zap. Look at it. They're 2 elixir behind, 6 to 8, 7 to 9, and that's all because that he had to zap that princess. Great placement by Marcus 35. A member of Silent. Darth Jar Jar out of Reddit Alpha. Actually, if Darth Jar Jar advances, it'll be 2 Reddit Alpha people playing each other again in the top 4.
Oh boy.
That's what happens when you're 7 out of the 16 competitors.
The classic defense. No swings.
No swings there. 5 for 4, but look at that. That Mega Minion is going to just feast again. Ooh.
The way to look at that is basically you got barbs for 1 elixir.
Right.
That's the best way to look at that situation.
I agree with that. That's a good point. And got some damage on the tower, too. It wasn't too bad. Marcus, though, great defense against Darth Jar Jar's Miner. He played Ice Spirit and Skeletons, which is not only 2 elixir, but it's also 2 cards, which helps him cycle back to his elixir collector that much faster.
Yes. Make immediate. Ooh, are they just gonna both let them make it?
I guess so. I'm not worried about it, I guess. They both, I think, want to get. Ooh, here's the Hog Ice Spirit, as I know, is a thing you're a big fan of.
This is an even elixir trade, but the Hog Rider gets 2 swings. Look at that.
Right.
Definitely worth it in the Hog Rider's eyes. Now it's just a question of, okay, you need to have your deck set up to defend against Barbarians, but worth it in the sense of aggressive play.
And great zap there on the Inferno Tower to reset it. That gives the Barbs a little bit of a chance to get closer and try to destroy it.
This princess is doing work.
Yes, Marcus 35, I think, has had much better princesses throughout this match.
Yes.
Wow, look at these Mega Minions. 2 Mega Minions on the board. The princess is going to weaken those things. And notice that there's no poison, though, that I've seen yet in Marcus 35's deck. That's really got to hurt him. No poison, no lightning. Wonder what that 8th card is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lightning strike!
And, man, I almost wonder if there could have been a better way for Marcus 35 to defend that situation.
Right.
The really important thing to watch out for is how many shots this princess gets on the tower.
Yeah, just the one. But I think another thing to keep in mind is that Darth Jar Jar doesn't have any direct damage, right? He's just got the Miner and the Zap, whereas Marcus has Lightning, which only 2 Lightnings needed to take the tower down.
It's really time for Marcus 35 to focus up. He needs
Hog
to send
Lightning,
the Hog Rider.
Oh, he doesn't have enough for it. He doesn't have enough for the Ice Spirit either.
1 swing. Okay,
that's enough. That's Lightning. He won. I think he's won the game.
You don't hit the Barbarian.
Oh, he doesn't know. It's a little short. Ah! No other direct damage in the deck, though.
The Miner.
Oh, he got the Zap. He's got the Zap. 1 more swing. 2. Jojo takes it. Oh my God! I'm sorry. I'm not trying to scream into the microphone or nothing, but woo, buddy, Darth Jar Jar.
Oh, this is why grade school is so important.
What happened?
This is why you need to pay attention in grade school so that you can add up the numbers.
Oh my God. He went for the Lightning, and I guess it just wasn't enough. It only does 349 instead of 368 or something like that.
God.
You can hold on it to see the exact amount, but I think he thought maybe the Hog would go in and take a swing. But 18 health. Whoa, not like that. Not like that,
God.
says Marcus.
Oh, God.
2-0.
That's such a tragic loss. And I was about to say, it was really time for Marcus 35 to focus and just like be in the zone and not get shaken up by the Miner attacks that were coming in. He really needed to identify the perfect situation to send the Hog Rider down in the face of the Giant pushing and the Miner coming in. Because the big thing is you need to know that the Giant and the Miner won't affect your Hog Rider at all. So if you know that your Hog Rider can get in, and your Hog Rider will do more DPS than the Miner does, right?
Absolutely.
So you need to identify the time when he cannot play Barbarians. You have the opportunity to slip your Hog Rider in, and then at that point it's just a matter of using Lightning to stun up the things that Vizard plays to defend against the Hog Rider and get that one last swing it needs to close out the match. And that's why I think that situation takes an incredible amount of focus.
Oh, man. Wow. That was so nuts. So we're in the top 4 now. Winner of C McHugh and Vizard. And remember, Vizard top seed, right? Third seed in the tournament. C McHugh only a 12 seed, but really proving his prowess.
Yeah.
So Vizard's opening up with the Giant Poison deck. We actually know all the decks of all the players now. Because Darth Jar Jar had 2 3 Musketeers decks, right?
Yes.
One was the minor. Actually, they both had minor. Whatever. Of the top, ooh, look at that. That's a really good Ice Golem. It buys a little bit more time for that Musketeer just to do the work, and the slow is going to be huge. Wow, no damage. Wow.
Interesting. Okay, so he chose the Collector rather than the Inferno Tower.
I think once you see that first Inferno Tower, you just sort of let the push go. The way that Giant Poison decks, their line of play in order to beat Inferno Tower decks is usually in double Elixir time by building a second. They put the Giant behind the King Tower, they have a lot of Elixir, and they cycle, and they play a second Giant at the river once they cycle back to it. And it's usually the second Giant that pushes through the Inferno Tower. Great placement of Vizard. Look at that. You could not have been any better with the square placement right there. It wasn't getting poisoned, it wasn't getting slowed down. It's going to walk just along the edges and only take a little bit of damage. An Ice Golem in front of it would be a pretty good push here. Oh, and he does that. All right, pretty nice.
Yeah. 2 Elixir plus 3 Elixir makes for a deadly combo.
The same Elixir cost as a Giant, but it's a lot more complicated, a lot more, like, not complicated in a bad way, but complicated in the sense that, like, it's hard for your opponent to defend. It's not just a simple single card.
They need to commit stuff to defend it. If in their hand they don't have the cheapest cards available, you're in a bad spot. Whew. Bad guess on the Ice Spirit, but...
Man, just letting that happen.
Yeah.
I think Vizard wants to get a second Collector out if he can, but
it's
too soon. I think he's got to cycle back to it.
He's going to get matched by CMCHugh at this point.
So here's what I would expect out of Vizard in order to get around this Inferno Tower. Either Ice Golem in front of the Giant, or he's going to play maybe like Ice Spirit, Mega Minion, Ice Golem in front, and then maybe get a second Giant out.
Yeah. I would almost add in the Mega Minion on the right side to start attacking the Inferno Tower.
Like right across the river, but I think he's going to use it here to kill. Oh, I think you're right. I think that would have been a better play because now he's got both of his things in poison, which is like not what he wants at all.
And the Musketeer would have killed the Mega Minion anyways.
Yeah. So I think you're right. So it probably should have been played center, almost parallel with the Elixir Collector and going that way, at least to be out of the poison range. We'll see if C McHugh can capitalize on that mistake. And put some damage on the tower. Vizard has felt like he's been in the driver's seat for most of this game. He's leading in damage. He's the one who's putting down the Elixir Collectors and forcing
he's actually
C McHugh.
earned back the Elixir Collector game. He was behind.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And again, you can really attribute that to the Ice Golem, Ice Spirit, Zap, Mega Minion. I mean, all 4 of those cards is 8 Elixir. That's a really fast cycle to get back.
We're in an interesting situation where Vizard is going to have to defend against double Inferno Tower on this push. So what really the important thing to watch out for is what happens right now on the right side. Poison Miner actually connects. Here's double Golem.
He's got a second Inferno Tower to even pull it further away. Will that first Giant turn around?
The Musketeer is actually locked onto the tower. That's huge. Maybe one more shot. But this changed the dynamic of the game so much, and that's a big thing. You need to, if you're playing double Inferno Tower, do not ignore the Musketeer because that second Inferno Tower will not draw the Musketeer away.
Bad zap there by Vizard. Vizard meant to zap the Mega Minion in order for his to win the duel, but it came out just a little bit early before they were actually engaged in combat. That does give C McHugh an opening. The zap is out. Ooh. And actually, I mean, so Vizard's going to win on the next poison, right?
Yes.
But C McHugh could theoretically pull something off here. He's got 10 seconds to do so. He's got to make something happen.
Vizard is slowly cycling.
And that's the downside of these minor Inferno decks. They can't attack. You know what I mean? That's not what they do.
Yeah. You cannot, I need to go now, I go now.
Right, although it's going to come down here. He does the zap to speed it up just a little bit. I do think that minor poison was going to take down Vizard's tower. It just, that's why he zapped to speed it up a little bit. Didn't want to wait.
Yeah. Good, safe play. I think, so if you're going to play double Inferno Tower to defend against a Giant push, you need to make the Giant zigzag. Because otherwise, that Musketeer is going to be dunking your tower.
Absolutely.
That, or you need to play your guards faster. I mean, the guards came out just a little bit too late. And even though they were able to take down the Musketeer, those 2 shots changed that scenario from having a tower at about 1,000 health to a tower at 400 health. 400 health means 2 poisons.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's 440 is the number. If you get it down to 440, that's 2 poisons. 22 damage each tick times 10 ticks. And that's something you just got to know. Just like you got to know your lightning, you got to know your rocket, the exact amount of damage they do.
Interesting. I think the mystical magic of Super Magical Cup, right? Means that I think Vizard is going to possibly beat C McHugh. And I think that's going to be an upset in terms of, I think C McHugh is kind of a higher, higher level player than Vizard is based on kind of just tournament performance.
But
Vizard is going to continue fulfilling his dream of being a second placer. That would make sense to me in terms of the magic of Super Magical Cup, right?
Here's what I want to give Vizard credit for, though. Vizard is an exceptional deck builder, probably a little bit more of an innovative deck builder than McHugh is. McHugh's probably the better mechanical, technical player, but Vizard, I think, but Vizard's no slouch. We've seen some amazing mechanical play out of him across this season.
Yes.
But I think that he's got a little bit better of a sense of like the vision of the game, the flow of how things work, deck building. I think that's a little bit more in Vizard's favor. Up one game, but you can't count McHugh out until he is out. This Minor Inferno deck is super strong. And he's got the lead right now.
If Vizard wins, I want so badly for Vizard to win the tournament. I want so bad for that to happen. It's just based on past performances. I have a sneaky suspicion that this is Vizard fulfilling the prophecy of being second place.
Yeah, I think he could win. I mean, it's hard to say. So right now they're kind of trading back and forth, right? We've seen this in a couple games in a row because there's a lot of Minor decks in the field, in this top 8 field. The thing that we're
that log
roll those things off. Yeah.
Value.
Wow, there's gonna be a lot of value because the Musketeer's still, or the Minor's still going.
Oh no, the Ice Spirit needed to survive.
Right.
He's taking a ton of damage for this.
Wow, McHugh takes the tower, and a little thanks on top of that gives him, lets him know that he's in the building. He hasn't given up yet. Remember, in the Season 1 championship, Clyde lost the first game of every single round and then came back to win 2-1. So I'm not counting anyone out until that last hit point comes off that last tower.
Yeah, and it really does come down to, you need to be adept and flexible with both the decks that you utilize.
Right.
I think Vizard was reading some kind of aggressive...
it was an accidental.
Okay.
Maybe he's BM City right now.
Yeah, but C McHugh is just firing off the guns.
Double birds in the air, says C McHugh. He hasn't given up yet. Probably an accident. Right. The Minor, though, does walk all the way across the field and actually threaten that Princess, requiring Skeletons to come out to defend. I think with 15 seconds left, McHugh is just looking to not spend, just put his Elixir on the board, defending that side as much as possible. Yeah. Both of them playing Minor poison decks. You know there's no real big push coming or anything like that.
Yes. Yeah, it's not...
There's no lightning, there's no rocket, there's no way to speedily do 1,000 damage to the tower at all. Ooh. So here we are, we're going into game 3, and I think now that McHugh's won with that deck, he's got to play his other deck. And McHugh's other deck is the Hog Lightning deck. So going into a game 3, McHugh needs his Hog Lightning deck to overcome Vizard's Minor Inferno deck. And I actually think McHugh has a pretty good matchup there because he's got the Lightning, which is a good answer to deal with Inferno Tower. He can cycle Hogs because he's going to have both 1-cost cards and the Elixir Collector. So he can go Elixir Collector, cheap, Elixir Collector, cheap. And then when it actually comes down to it, you go Hog Lightning and maybe even a second Hog because you can cycle back for them so quickly.
Yeah, I think that the Hog Rider is currently a card that I think has a place in the meta, but it's very, very difficult to find the space that you want to use it.
Right.
I think it takes a lot more thought than...
Somebody pointed out, by the way, that Minor behind the King Tower was actually basically just playing a Knight behind the King Tower in the sense of like an investment. So even though the Minor could go further, what would be the point? You're just trying to put a long delay in front.
Yep. I mean, it wasn't a detrimental move. It's just not something you ever see with money.
It's actually, that shows the depth of McHugh's knowledge in playing this game, knowing those very corner case plays, those really, the 1% plays, the things you almost never actually do, but are important in pulling out these close games against some of the other best players. Wow, Vizard, mistake with that Princess, wanted to play it a second later. That was...
Didn't even get the trade.
Actually, that worked out really bad for Vizard. And here comes McHugh coming in. Even though Vizard's ahead right now, McHugh's going to take advantage of that mistake and try to capitalize.
Oh, God.
Wow.
That's a Hog Rider.
Just like that. That was 10 Elixir. 5 on Vizard's side, so McHugh should theoretically be behind a little bit more from that push, but did so much damage.
That hurts.
No Minor so far in McHugh's deck. One of the rare. Ooh, I like that log there because those skeletons can be very, very deadly if left unchecked. And still, despite the log and the Mega Minion, one swing on the tower.
All right, here comes a Minor.
Ice Spirit jumps to buy a little bit of time. Ooh. So we've got lightning here. I think actually McHugh already has that other tower pretty much locked down. Doesn't need much.
Yeah.
We know now it doesn't do 368. He's got to make sure. I think he needs a zap on top or something, a little bit more damage, one princess shot. But either way, that right tower of Vizard is pretty much locked down. It is on Vizard now to really put together some aggressive balls to the wall pushes and really try to take that down. But I don't know how he can do it with a Minor Inferno deck. It's such a great deck if you're ahead and such a bad deck if you're behind.
Yes. It's really tough. I can't see a situation where Vizard can comfortably make it to that right side tower.
Wow, great princess play there by Vizard. Makes up for his earlier mistake by getting the double princesses out and taking out C McHugh's princess for free.
That's a good minor poison right there. And the Ice Spirit coming from the back. Oh, God. All right.
I think C McHugh knows that he can play super defensive, and these are two decks that, you know, lean defense, don't really attack much. And I'm not really sure what Vizard can do. I mean, I guess he can get...
He needs to play another minor poison successfully.
Right, and actually get a good amount of damage on the tower. And unfortunately, this is not going to be... He's going to need one more poison or minor, and that Inferno tower is going to last through the end of the game.
Right now.
Does that hit? It doesn't hit the tower. Unfortunately, the princess doesn't splash that far anymore.
Oh, he doesn't have enough time.
He might, but he's got to get a zap. Oh, the lightning!
Oh,
wow! No! McHugh, after losing game 1... holds off Vizard's alternate deck 2 games in a row, winning 2-1 to advance into the finals of the Season 2 Super Magical Cup Championship.
CMQ is making it happen, and Vizard did really well to come this far. The top 4 is very difficult to get to at this point.
Woo!
CMQ makes it all the way to the finals, and I mean, if he did come out first in his group, he's gonna kill the rest of this tournament.
You know what's crazy about that too is that I'm trying to blow my that he lost because of the princess nerf. If the princess still had that large splash radius, you would have seen the princess hit the tower. The tower had 137 health on it. A slightly larger princess splash is 140.
Yeah.
And that takes that tower down and we go into overtime. That just shows how on the exact edge of these games are. You're not going to find any closer games in the Clash Royale community.
Yeah. Yeah. The princess nerf is really, it actually makes the splash really uncomfortable. Right.
Yeah, it's tough. So here we are. This is a matchup of clanmates. You know, I think that they wish that neither of them had to make this choice against each other. I think they wish they were on the other side of the brackets and were meeting in the finals. But Darth Jar Jar versus Marcel P. Marcel P is running Minor Inferno and Rocket Inferno. Darth Jar Jar has 2 Three Musketeer decks. I actually think this favors Darth Jar Jar, though, because the Three Musketeer split is something that the Inferno Tower decks have a lot of hard time dealing with.
Yeah, and I think really, okay, so the Rocket is the one big tool he has. I think Lightning as a spell cycle deck would have been more comfortable than Rocket is.
Okay. Well, Rocket, he can at least rocket the double side.
Yes.
And he also has poison, so he could theoretically poison. If Darth Jar Jar falls for the bait and puts all 3 in the same lane, you get that 6 for 9 combo, which is pretty good. So far, though, Darth Jar Jar leading, and you know, we talk about how these rocket cycle decks are not usually good from behind. Marcel's gonna want to get a rocket, hopefully on a split Musketeers. So, like, theoretically, if Musketeers come out behind the King Tower, you can rocket the tower that has 2 Musketeers. But I also think Darth Jar Jar knows that and is not going to be giving him up that easily.
And obviously they come from the same clan. They've played each other numerous times.
They've probably been practicing for this tournament all week. Probably with these 2 decks. Actually, if anyone in the tournament has this much practice against each other, it's probably them. Notice that Darth Jar Jar played his 3 Musketeers very high, like very close to the river, away from his home base in order to avoid bad poisons, trying to avoid rocket as much as possible.
Yeah. The Miner is going to get basically free reign on that tower. And Darth Jar Jar is winning not by the 3 Musketeers actually hitting anything, but by the threat of the 3 Musketeers.
Yeah.
And really the Miner has done the majority of the damage.
You know what's crazy? At this point, with only 3 players remaining, right, McHugh and then these 2, Giant Poison eliminated entirely from the tournament. There's no more Giant Poison decks left.
Yep. Giant Poison.
Ooh, okay, so the Miner's going to come down. The Knight's closing in. Great Knight. You see how strong Knight is on defense against those double Musketeers. Just 3 Elixir and did a really good job holding him off.
Mega Minion plus the poison is helping out that Musketeer so much trade out against the Mega Minion, even though the tower was shooting the Musketeer.
Yeah. Now I wonder... Wow, this is really tough so far for Darth Jar Jar. Like, he's in a real bad spot. Or, I'm sorry, tough spot for Marcel because he's really got to sit back and defend. But when are you going to get chances to fire your rockets? Like, Marcel P actually doesn't have a way to win this game right now other than firing, what, 5 rockets in the next 15 seconds, you know? I think Darth Jar Jar has this one locked up.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because there was very aggressive use of the rocket on the right side to stop the 2 Musketeers coming down the lane. And I think at some point you just need to actually try to defend without the rocket, let a little bit of damage happen, right? Spend your tower health as a resource. That tower's at 2006 health, right?
Yeah.
Spend it as a resource and try to find some way to get some damage somehow.
That makes sense. Yeah, you're right, because this is the sort of game that you're either going to win 1-0 or you're just going to lose, right?
Yeah.
Like, so letting your opponent split damage across their towers is a big advantage for you because you're just trying to take down 1 tower the entire game as opposed to trying to grind it out with like actual pushes and stuff like that. But you're right. So Darth Jar Jar, 1 game away. He's playing his other 3 Musketeers deck. I think they both have minor in it, but we'll see what the differences are between the 2 lists. But he's on his other 3 Musketeer deck. Marcel P might be on Rocket, might have switched. I'm not sure.
There it is. There's a giant.
Did Darth Jar Jar have giant? No, I think he has. Oh, I think he has 3 Musketeers.
3 Musketeers. I don't know if there's poison though.
You're right. This is actually like a giant poison deck with 3 Musketeers in place of the normal Musketeers.
I think so.
I think that's correct.
I don't know for sure.
So I take that back. I think I remember that now. It's a giant poison deck where we didn't know what the 9th card was, and then he played it, and it was 3 Musketeers.
I think you might be right. In fact, this is a deck that I play on ladder.
Barb's very interesting choice. I wonder what Barbs do in this deck, right? I guess they're an anti-hog card, they're an anti-giant. Oh, I know what they are. They're fireball bait. It's a giant poison deck where you want to like fireball or poison the Barbs, and then once you do, the 3 Musketeers can come in afterwards. So it's a little bit of mind games. You either have the option of leaving the Barbs to be insane, right? Or falling prey to 3 Musketeers.
All right. We'll see. Giant in the back. Darth Jar Jar is leading 1-0 against Marcel P.
All right, clanmates, hate to do this to each other. Darth Jar Jar, though, Marcel P has tasted victory. He has won a Super Magical Cup before. Darth Jar Jar has, second placed a few times, a lot of top 4s and top 8s, but hasn't quite gotten there. I'd like to see him, maybe get another shot at the finals. But Marcel P is not going down easily. Although, almost 2 minutes into the game, Marcel P hasn't done any damage, really, to Darth Jar Jar's towers.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is... You have to wonder, both towers are sitting pretty comfortably. 2 times Elixir is going to change some things a little bit, and now finally Darth Jar Jar seems to be focusing in on Elixir Collector play, so this might be the time to try to push the momentum in a different way.
Here's what I think's happening. When you have cards like 3 Musketeers and you can split them a lot in order to deal with them, the Rocket Cycle decks are looking to get Elixir advantage. You spend 4, I spend 2, I save that 2, and then eventually rocket you with all my saved up Elixir. But every time Darth Jar Jar casts 3 Musketeers, he's getting 12 Elixir worth of troops for 9. He's gaining 3 Elixir every single time they're cast, and I feel like Marcel P is not able to generate these big Elixir advantages because he's having to spend as much or more in order to actually hold that off, and he's never being able to bank enough for a rocket.
It's interesting to think about that maybe Marcel P's deck would benefit more from the use of things like Ice Golem or Skeletons or cards that really provide them the opportunity to gain that Elixir advantage that currently he doesn't have. Maybe something even like Arrows or Log or something like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. This is tough. I think a lot of players didn't expect... I'm surprised that 3 Musketeers wasn't really predicted to do that well or wasn't really that popular because it's really strong with all the coming back of Lava Hounds. But then again, we haven't seen that many Lava Hounds.
Yeah.
It seems like both of these players have really preyed on the giant poison decks. We saw a lot of giant poison in the group stages, but when you actually get down to who is advancing into the top 4 in the finals, it's a lot of Minor Inferno, a lot of very grindy defensive decks.
Right, foot's down. Marcel P has started attacking.
Just notice Darth Jar Jar doesn't have poison. This is not a giant poison deck.
Yeah.
Giant's just another tank in there for the 3 Musketeers.
Yeah. He's got Giant Minor.
Look at this, it's really split up here. All 4 towers have taken a significant amount of damage. This, I don't know which way. I couldn't call like corner pocket which way this battle's gonna go.
Yeah, that's actually good defense and didn't have to use a rocket actually, but he has to be concerned about the Giant right now. And the Mega Minion.
Ooh, the Mega Minion doesn't have, what a save. But then again, he's on his back foot. Darth Jar Jar already has another giant Mega Minion push coming down the lane.
Yeah, it's tough. The Mega Minion is going to make it. It's going to survive. And now it's going to do significant damage to the
locked
tower.
onto the tower. It didn't hit the Ice Wizard. The Ice Wizard was meant to block, but instead it gets onto the tower. And here we are. There's actually Oh, Marcel P is tossing it looks like, but there's no actual poison in Darth Jar Jar's deck, so he couldn't just poison it, but I think he realizes that he's not going to be able to rocket cycle him out prior to minors and zaps taking him out. Yeah. Marcel P gives the respectful concede to his clanmate Darth Jar Jar. Darth Jar Jar advances against C McHugh in the finals of the Season 2 Super Magical Cup Championship.
So it's interesting because I feel like this was we had that three-way, and Darth Jar Jar is actually stepping up to the plate right now.
Absolutely,
he's positioned to take.
He's finished second before.
Yeah.
You know he's thirsty for a win.
Yeah. Three Musketeers.
All right, so let's switch it up. I think it goes Darth Jar Jar on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
C McHugh on the top.
This is the finals. We've got C McHugh versus Darth Jar Jar. After everything, all the fantasy brackets that we've made, I bet you there's so many people who are crying right now.
I think a lot of people have C McHugh on their brackets. I bet, but there is a small but loyal following who has Darth Jar Jar on their brackets, and they are hyped up. Most of the favorites have been bumped out. A lot of people had these people going deep into the tournament, but we'll see what happens here in the finals between these two. Let's see. Their two decks are McHugh has the Minor Inferno and the Hog Lightning. Darth Jar Jar has two separate Three Musketeer decks. The Hog Lightning deck, I think, is going to win, right? Like, it's going to win its match. But the question is, can McHugh win one of two games against two separate Three Musketeer decks? We saw already, Marcel P, I would argue, is a better Siege player, is a better Minor Inferno, Rocket Inferno player than anyone in the game. And he just had a really hard time getting 2-0'd by the double Three Musketeer decks. What can McHugh do to win with his Minor Inferno deck?
I have to wonder. I think that, McHugh does so many creative and interesting things with how he employs his cards that I would almost hold my judgment on whether he can make the Minor Inferno work against Three Musketeers, just because I feel like there might be something that C McHugh just does consistently better that you would not typically expect.
Right.
That Minor Inferno can do. Maybe something like taking down the Three Musketeers or defending Three Musketeers comfortably, more consistently, while also providing the Minor the ability to get over to the tower and use the poison on the tower, right? Maybe something like that. But you're right. I think C McHugh is going to hit a hard stop once he has to own up to Minor Inferno versus Three Musketeer. I really think the point that we were making a little bit earlier about the elixir advantage that you earn every time you cast Three Musketeers. Darth Jar Jar has to figure out a way just to get out cast Three Musketeers as many times as you can, right? Especially, don't fall vulnerable to, too many bad situations, but really force your opponent to constantly answer, in both lanes, a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. Seems Hugh is stalling. He's stalling. He really is holding his hand for something.
Ooh, that is not what you wanted there. Wow. Those Musketeers are gone.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
Something happens. Something happens, and all of a sudden you're just sitting in the ditch, and you're looking like a dum-dum because your Three Musketeers got wrecked.
Yeah, that was really just bad timing with the Ice Spirit there, but we'll see. The big problem, I think, now is that McHugh has... Well, actually, guards are off the table, so that allows McHugh's Elixir Collector to get attacked by the Minor, but defends it. 4 Elixir on defense, though, against the 3 Elixir attack. Darth Jar Jar is able to get out his next Elixir Collector now, but can he defend it? There's actually not a lot of stuff in his deck to defend against Minors. But McHugh has already picked a tower that he's going to. He's got a lane preference, right? He wants to go
left God, where's the cards? Okay, there finally is the barb drop. It's making things a little bit more crazy.
The barb drop is good in terms of holding up the Mega Minion and not taking any more damage, but it's not looking too good already. He's taking a lot of damage on that tower, and the big problem I think here is the barbs are, they're vulnerable to poison. He's trying to get C McHugh to use the poison on barbs or Elixir Collector so that the Musketeers can run free, but I don't think C McHugh is going to take the bait.
Yeah, I think C McHugh is playing out the situation very well, and now finally 1 minute into game does Darth Jar Jar get his first real 3 Musketeer push.
Right as the 2 Elixir hits is when it starts to get crazy. Now we see the Mega Minion there in the middle, timed perfectly so it can fly a little bit ahead. Ooh, good zap to reset it. The right side push has already kind of been disabled, but that Giant has over half health as the Musketeer starts locking onto the tower. Oh, taken down. It must have been zapped at some point.
Yeah, poison zap on the group of the Giant and the Musketeer and also the Mega Minion, I think.
And look, we were talking about using your tower as an ATM right there. He just basically ignored the right Mega Minion. You don't care about the damage on that tower because it just doesn't matter, right?
Yes. I think that Darth Jar Jar got gummed up on the right side by guards, really, and that was the big thing, and I think that's going to be the thing again.
Right, and it's going to happen again. There's already been the poison zap on the Musketeer and Mega Minion there, so that Musketeer is dead in the water. It hasn't happened quite yet, but it has happened. Although, look at the right side, though. Damage. Yeah, just like that, actually, Darth Jar Jar took the lead, but we're going into overtime now.
Darth Jar Jar is actually giving up his Elixir Collector game. He actually let that happen. I think he's giving it up to he's pushing all in right now. He says, okay, no more Elixir Collectors. I'm actually going to let you waste your Miner, your 3 Elixir, and I'm going to play a 3 Musketeer in that.
I don't quite understand the barbs on the left side. I'm not really sure what the angle there. I mean, obviously he wants the poison to come over onto that side, but for, like...
I think he should have committed more Elixir on the right side and tried to replicate the first push that he did with the Miner.
Okay.
Just do that and have extra Elixir to assist in killing the guards that are defending the 2 Musketeers on the right side.
McHugh made an oops, and I think he's out of cycle now. He has to play his guards over there to hold off the Mega Minion, and that's actually giving a little bit of an opening on the right side here. The poison comes out early, and that allows the barbs to come in. What can stop the barbs, though? We've got Mega Minion, which is going to be great at chewing up all of them, but will they make it to the tower?
The Musketeer is still alive, going to take down the Mega Minion, and Barbarians are actually super tanky. Miners on the right side, this could be it.
1,
C McHugh.
2, oh, he's got double Princess now, and the Miner's getting distracted by the lone remaining Barbarian.
The Princess locked on! The Princess is locked on!
One more shot. He just needs another poison in order to take it down. Can C McHugh do another 800 damage in the next few seconds? There's the zap comes in. One more zap is going to take it down. Zap does 67 damage at turn.
Here comes the Miner.
One Miner swing will do 64.
Oh,
the Miner's blocked by another Miner. He just needs to get a zap out or a Princess shot on the tower. McHugh is forced to spend so much Elixir at the river to defend against those Princesses that have built up.
And I think we've cycled.
I think he's got it. Zap.
There it is. Darth Jar Jar.
Game 1 of the finals.
And really, it was the Barbarians that pulled in for him.
These games are so close. Like, I thought that McHugh was in the driver's seat for most of that game, but as soon as double Elixir hit, we got to that moment where the Musketeers could just be split over and over again. It only took one mistake for C McHugh. It put him out of his cycle. He had to play guards on the left side, didn't have them anymore on the right side to counter the split, and from that moment, he was just taking little bits of damage here and there and couldn't hold that really stalwart defense that he had the entire early 2 minutes of the match.
This could be it. This could be the last game of the Season 2 championships. It's come down to Darth Jar Jar and C McHugh, and right now, C McHugh was looking incredible. Incredibly strong. Now, Darth Jar Jar made it here. No knock on him.
You're right.
But a lot of the games felt very scrappy, as evidenced by the last game we saw.
Right.
It was very, very close. Darth Jar Jar had moments where he was behind but came back to win it. But every single time Darth Jar Jar has been able to make the win, and now he's on the verge of taking his first place finish in any Super Magical Cup event in the championships. A repeat of the Clyde story.
That's true, and actually, let's keep in mind that Darth Jar, when we talked about how in Season 1 championships, Clyde would lose the first game of every match and then would come back to win. He was always on the brink of elimination. At one point, I think he was 34 health in overtime from losing and ended up winning. Darth Jar Jar, remember, had to play a tiebreaker to get out of groups.
Yes. Yes, and all the games that we've seen, maybe sans Marcel P, were incredibly close.
Right. So far, Jar Jar has, remember he has to switch decks. McHugh can choose which deck to stay with, and it looks like he's staying on the same deck that he had, the Minor Inferno deck. He's not going to play the Hog Lightning if he can help it, right? Darth Jar Jar, though, has switched to his other 3 Musketeers deck, and this one is actually the faster cycle one. It has both 1-cost cards. It's got 2 3-cost tanks, so he's actually going to be able to put a lot of pressure on C McHugh's Miners. There's going to be you're going to need to play a lot of Miners to attack as quickly as he's going to be able to play his Elixir Collectors.
Nice,
and he also has this great defense of both Skeletons and Ice Spirit that can defend against the Miners. I think Darth Jar Jar is really happy to be playing this deck in the deciding game.
Because really, the big thing that was stopping Darth Jar Jar before was the fact that there was the poison on the field, and that he had to make sure that the poison was placed in the incorrect spot to capitalize on the fact that now he has a Musketeer or 2 Musketeers free. The Giant and the replacement of the Giant with the Knight is actually sort of irrelevant in terms of what Darth Jar Jar needs to successfully place on the map to win it.
Good guess by Darth Jar Jar. And actually, while the guards were played in defense, the Miner did lock onto the Elixir Collector, which is, of course, what you want. You want to keep the Elixir off. Good point that somebody mentioned in chat that if we go to Game 3, McHugh has Hog Lightning. Why do you think he didn't play Hog Lightning this game with his tournament life on the line?
Yeah, there must be something that McHugh knows or maybe feels comfortable with in terms of Minor Inferno and maybe Hog Lightning experience. I don't really know what it is. On paper, I would say that Hog Lightning is much better against the Three Musketeer deck than a Minor Inferno is, but maybe C McHugh feels comfortable using Poison.
After the first game, it's no wonder that Darth Jar Jar is going to be very defensive with his princesses. No, he's going to let this happen. It looks like he's going to ignore the Minor and maybe let that occur, because the Minor's now going to target onto the tower, the King Tower. Just like that, we saw it earlier. We saw Clyde make that same play.
Yeah.
Ooh. C McHugh finally got a good Minor push through with those guards.
Yeah. Ignored the Minor that Darth Jar Jar played, and much like in the first game,
Darth Jar Jar saying good game because he accidentally didn't split. It was one square off, and instead of splitting, they all walked down the same side.
His Minor tank also is made much less effective because the King Tower is now activated. Plus, he got all 3 of his Musketeers gummed up by the poison and got them all basically traded for very, very little elixir.
2 crucial mistakes. We saw a mistake really be the deciding factor in game 1. For C McHugh, and here we are going into in game 1. I'm sorry. Now here in game 2, we have another similar setup.
I really hope it's not the tournament nerves, the tournament pressure of Darth Jar Jar finally realizing that, oh my God,
there could be no bigger nerves. Yeah, I mean, this is certainly where not just every card you choose to play, but literally every grid space, every tiny square can be the difference between winning and losing.
And you know that C McHugh is hungry for any kind of vulnerability.
Yes,
he is looking for any kind of mistake to capitalize on. When you're ahead, the player who's behind, there's incentive for him to play really well.
And we're just seeing that King Tower do work, and the King Tower's really chopping down that Minor and doing some good work there. But it's worth here comes one guard. Even just a solo guard and the Minor can do a good amount of damage there.
Knight pushes him off.
Remember, there's only poison though. He's gonna have to do 3 poisons or maybe more in order for this to work. It looks like he's now Darth Jar Jar starting to split his focus over to the left side because that tower is the lower one. If he can just get some damage through here, might be able to get a little bit of an advantage.
It's coming down to a Minor poison race, essentially. The 3 Musketeers are no longer really a factor. Zap on the skeleton is going to put the Minor onto the tower.
That might be enough to take this here with a minute 30 left in overtime.
There's one more opportunity for Darth Jar Jar.
And I don't see it happening. I think what Darth Jar Jar would have to do exactly at this moment is drop like 3 Musketeers all in one lane, and it's just too late. So McHugh capitalizes on the big crucial mistake for Darth Jar Jar there was not splitting his Musketeers and putting them all in the same lane, walking them directly into a poison. That's got to be heartbreaking for Darth Jar Jar here in game 2 of the finals.
The mentality of these players is so important at this point. 1-1. Darth Jar Jar nearly had the win, and now C McHugh maybe has a win behind him, but maybe C McHugh is feeling the pressure now too, so we'll really have to see. He has Hog Lightning.
Yes.
Why did C McHugh not play the Hog Lightning is a question that remains to be answered. Why did he not play the Hog Lightning at risk of elimination?
Yeah.
But now he has it.
Yeah, because
technically,
I think up until that critical mistake for Darth Jar Jar, I think he was doing well. He was in control of the game, and that really put it down. This is the most high-stakes game of Clash Royale you're going to see today. $700 are on the line here between these 2 players. Winner takes home $500. Second place takes home $200. Both of these players, scrappy teenagers, could definitely do with the $500 in their pocket.
There's lots of things that you can get with $500. Minor on the Princess plus the poison, and I think Darth Jar Jar is trying to get started early. And I actually kind of really like that. I think that there's so many little things that can happen. Any opportunity you can right from the first second of the game. Any opportunity you can. I mean, look at that. He put that tower down 900 health. He
made a strategic decision, or McHugh did, to ignore the Minor on that side and just let it do a lot of damage in order to try to get a second collector.
What do you have for defense against a Hog Rider?
He's got 3 Musketeers, but he's leery of playing it because, of course, the Hog Lightning combo is like exactly what you'd want. Now, here's the thing. If Darth Jar Jar knows that Lightning exists, then he can actually start splitting the 3 Musketeers with 1 on the left and 2 on the right.
Yes.
And even if Lightning comes and takes those 2 off the right, at least the tower damage isn't on the already weak side tower. Yes.
It's going to be a tough situation. I think there's no real good answer for a Hog Rider in Darth Jar Jar's deck. I mean, look at his
skeleton is going to do some work too. Oh, the one skeleton killed all 3 of the enemies, and look at that.
I almost wonder if Darth Jar Jar should have identified that was the big weakness.
Right.
Let the Hog Rider come in and try to trade as best as he can. Just trade. Go for kind of almost a 3-crown race.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you can go in for it.
Because if you're halfway trying to kind of defend the Hog Rider, but not committing to a 3 Musketeer push, you're never going to get damage on their tower, and they're always going to play the Hog Rider and get a bunch of damage on you.
Absolutely. Oh man, what a turning point in the game. C McHugh now also has a lead on that second tower as well. Like, it's not just the one tower that he's leading on, but really, he's also got a lead if this does end up going into a 2-1 game. Now there could be a Lightning right there. 1, 2, 3. on the Elixir Collector, Tower, and Musketeer. It's not the greatest value, but it might be worth it. Opts to use it on the double Musketeer instead, which is the weak side of C McHugh.
I think really when you get down to it, when you split your 3 Musketeers, and especially if you play that situation that you were talking about, make sure that the 2 Musketeers are going down the lane for the stronger tower. Even if they lightning your 3 Musketeers, you're still coming out even.
Yeah, but not when they get all 3. Yeah. C McHugh just got all 3 at a crucial moment with 30 seconds left in the game. Darth Jar Jar cannot afford to take a 3 elixir disadvantage, and I think Darth Jar Jar is realizing reality is setting in, that there is not a lot of paths to victory for him, especially because he can't drop all 3 Musketeers in the same lane, and doesn't, like you mentioned, doesn't have a great answer to Hog Rider. The best thing he's got is this, Knight, Skeletons, Ice Spirit push.
I think it really came down to strategizing before the game started, saying, okay, I know I'm stuck with this 3 Musketeer deck now against a Hog Rider, and I know that I don't have cannons, I don't have mini P.E.K.K.A. even,
And that's it. Not with a bang, but with a whimper, C McHugh grinds out. Darth Jar Jar wins 2-1 in the finals to become the Season 2 Super Magical Cup champion. He played Minor Inferno in a Hog Lightning deck, 2-1. Actually, you know what's crazy is I think he 2-1. No, I'm sorry. He 2-0'd in ESL Yo, 2-1 Vizard, 2-1 Darth Jar Jar. There were several moments in the top 4 and finals where he could have been eliminated. Didn't let the nerves get to him, buckled down, and with grit, pulled it out.
I actually think that the only Hog deck that came in won.
You're right. I think that actually, no, Zadian was playing a Hog deck as well, but you're right. He didn't get it out of the groups. All of the Hog decks in the top, there's only one Hog deck in the top 8, and you're right.
I just can't believe it, because
that was C McHugh.
The whole story of Season 2 Super Magical Cup was that the Hog Rider was not a thing anymore. It was Giant Poison. It was Sparky decks. It was Giant Skeleton. I mean, I guess there was a Hog Rider deck in the Giant Skeleton Championship that we saw.
Yes.
But really, Hog Rider just was not a thing, right? And definitely not a winning deck, right? We saw it with King K102, and now we see it today with CMCHugh. How? We get to the championships, and when players are really forced to think about their decks, they come in with an archetype that you would never in a million years say, I'm placing my chips on Hog Rider.
And really, the last 3 months is the rise, and I guess staying rise, of C McHugh. Because if you talk about Season 1 players and people that the community knew as top tournament players, McHugh is not one of them. He was really a complete unknown. But the breakout time for C McHugh was the very first week, the Royale Tourney week. As a member of Elite Gaming at the time, he won several thousand cards across all those featured tournaments in the first week of tournament play, made a big splash in all of the community tournaments, including Super Magical Cup, where he won the 4th one, got enough points that he knew he would be in the championship, and decided to sit back and wait for this event. McHugh has been recruited now to take over in a new clan, almost 5,000 trophies on his main account. The last 3 months, the story of competitive Clash Royale has been C McHugh coming out of nowhere, and he capitalizes here in the last week of Super Magical Cup Season 2, winning the season championship over a killer's row of other players.
A lot of games had to be played. C McHugh continues to demonstrate why he is such a successful tournament competitor in many different tournaments, and even in the Super Magical Cup, coming into the championships and making it happen with 2 decks that are very solidly constructed. And I mean, you didn't see a situation where CMCHugh was put in a position like Darth Jar Jar was, right? Darth Jar Jar did fantastically, making it to 2nd place with a card as weird and quirky as 3 Musketeers, right? There are a lot of weaknesses to the 3 Musketeer deck as well as strength. CMCHugh's decks were very well rounded. It's like there's not really, there are a few weak points, but overall the structure is very sound, right? There's not very many ways you can look at a deck and say this is the exact way that I'm going to take it apart.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that was a really smart play. Actually, if you noticed, both Turtwig Data, who could arguably have made the top 8, he lost in a tiebreaker, which is really unfortunate, and McHugh both brought Lightning. And I think actually there was, Vizard had a Giant Lightning deck as well. Maybe I'm going crazy there, but I mean, we saw Giant Lightning. We did see a little bit of Lightning, and it ended up being the crucial card in the finals. People were worried about 3 Musketeers. You're worried, of course, about Giant Poison pushes that have, the Musketeer and Mega Minion and all that behind it. The finalists, we're going over the decks here. The top 4 decks, Giant Poison, Minor Inferno for Vizard. McHugh had Minor Inferno in the Hog Lightning deck. Marcel P had Minor Inferno, Rocket Inferno. Darth Jar Jar had a 3 Musketeers, actually 2 separate 3 Musketeers deck, one with heavy tanks in the form of Barbs and Giant, and the other with light tanks in the form of Knight and Miner.
Yes.
Lots of Miners. Actually, all of the top 4 players were playing Miner. I think there was 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 5 Miners, if not more, out of the top 8 decks. So Miner is definitely a very popular card. Ice Golem, though, had a little bit of a good debut here. Let's see, where was the Vizard decks with Ice Golem? Nope. This one.
There it is.
Yeah, Ice Golem made a good presence. Also, I think Marcel P was playing it pretty effectively as well. So 2 Ice Golems in the top 4, which is pretty impressive for a new card that people don't really have a lot of experience playing with.
Super Minor Cup.
Super Minor Cup. Well, you know, it's funny. Actually, let's go back to what the breakouts were, by the way, because remember we actually have not just the bracket here, but boop. Oh wait, where's it at? The deck data. That's what we're looking for. So we'll cut off all these text things. Doop. Delete, 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 delete. Okay, so this is all of the decks that won money throughout Season 2 of Super Magical Cup. Every deck that we paid out money to, we sorted into this archetype. And if you look, Hog Cycle was a very distant second to Giant Poison. Yet Giant Poison, while being played a lot, but not that much of a presence actually at the top tables. Woody alone is pretty much the representation of Mortar here, and he couldn't make it out of groups. Mortar feels much less strong than it used to be, and unfortunately, Expo as well, big presence in Season 2. One of the big stories of deck archetypes in Season 2 also did not make it out of groups. The decks that did were heavily this Inferno Tower Siege slice that you see right here. I mean, that was definitely overrepresented at the top tables. What do you think about that? What do you think we're going to see in Season 3?
Oh boy, Season 3. Season 3 is going to be interesting because I expect Graveyard is going to change a lot. I think Graveyard is going to change a lot about how the game is played and what cards will be successful.
Yes, very good point.
Graveyard is going to be... Yeah, I don't know. Graveyard is going to be interesting because the skeletons don't dissipate either, right?
Yeah.
So they will convert.
I think the weird part is that the deck that Graveyard goes in best is this Minor Inferno deck. I mean, it's 1 card, it costs 5 elixir, but depending on the situation, it serves the role of Minor in that it is an aggressive, it can attack anywhere on the board. It serves the role of Guards in that it is a lot of skeletons that defend against a lot of incoming pushes. And it serves the role of Poison sometimes by being just a thing that gums up and deals a lot of damage to incoming pushes or helping support your attacks. So of all the decks to benefit from it, I think it might be the deck that just won. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like one of the most powerful decks in the game already.
Yeah. All right. Well, what an insane championship. I feel like the Super Magical Cup never ceases to amaze, right? It always provides surprises. You know, no matter what happens, no matter what the storyline is, it's always a surprise who ends up making it to the end. And for this season, which seemed like a long, incredible journey, C McHugh will take the first place finish to close it all out.
Absolutely. And dominant performance. I mean, C McHugh is one of those players who doesn't show up to the Super Magical Cup that often, but when he does, he makes his presence known. Yeah. I mean, I think he only played in 2 this season and got a win in a second place or maybe a win in a top 4. It was like two very high performances that put him comfortably in the top 16 in order to play in the championships, and he walks away with $500 for his effort with a little bit of innovative deck building and some insane mechanical play. Very good, very good player. And actually, you know what's funny? McHugh might win an extra $100 because he submitted a bracket where he won with himself winning. So we'll take a look at the brackets, but C McHugh also might have called his own shot there. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. All right. That's it for us for the Season 2 championship. It's been an incredible season. Thank you, everybody who tuned in and watched, and everybody who makes the Super Magical Cup happen. Since Season 1, since the Super Magical Cup was founded, the competitive scene in Clash Royale was didn't really exist.
You're right.
And now that we're here, we've grown a big community, a close community of competitors, people who enjoy playing Clash Royale at the highest level and also enjoy breaking away from stereotypes of meta and different cards and whatnot. And I think the discussion around the Super Magical Cup is really, really great. Really big thanks to all the volunteers to help make that happen, whether you're a Twitch admin or a tournament admin, or if you're just somebody who's helping write guides, who's helping do content, or talking about the Super Magical Cup, or getting excited about it, or watching it. And also big thanks to all the people who are discussing things on things like Reddit. And
of course, everyone to help me out, not just the mods and all the mods in chat, but of course our admins, Lucas and Mark and all the other people who've really helped out. We got some great graphic designers, Will and Kyle have been helping us out. Okay, actually, we can make a little mini announcement. How about, here's the announcement we can make. Season 3 of the Super Magical Cup, well, to answer the questions in chat, the points will be reset. It's a totally fresh season when we start Season 3. Season 3 of the Super Magical Cup is going to be in January of 2017. And you go, well, what happens between now and then? We were going to announce that today, but we got to push it back a little bit. This week, look for a big announcement of what Super Magical Cup will be up to over the next few months. Season 3 of Super Magical Cup will be in January. We've got a really cool announcement for you over the next few months of what what we're up to. Keep an eye out for the Clash Royale community announcements this week.
Yeah,
should be pretty good.
So we you'll know a little bit. Unfortunately, we really were excited about it.
We actually had graphics made up. It was an 11th hour, very last minute delay. But don't worry, it's definitely coming. Keep an eye out this week. Trust me, you'll know it when you hear it.
Yeah,
you'll know. It's a pretty cool announcement. Thanks for tuning in. Season 3 will start very early next year, or maybe signups in December or something like that. But yeah, keep an eye out. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you. Soon. Maybe as soon as next week.
Next time.